I think the best way to describe it now is like almost like being a recruiter, recruiting talent.
My objective walking out of that interview was to ensure that I asked the questions that I know the community wants to hear asked, right?
Wow, that's not the answer I was expecting. You actually got me genuinely laughing right now. Is $1,000 in one card worth more than $1,000 in 20 cards?
Man, that's tough. It depends on what's your play.
What's up, everybody? What's going on out there? It's good to see everyone. I'm excited to be here today. I have my pull my card shirt on. I'm excited. This is good stuff. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. We got Chance in here. Hey, what's up, Chance? What's going on? So I'm going to introduce our guest today. I've been looking forward to this conversation. We have here today Nick from StaknSell.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, FT. Appreciate it.
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Good. I mean, I got to deal with cards today, so I can't really complain.
Okay. All right. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So let's jump into this, right? Tell everyone your story. Like, how did you get involved, or how did you start collecting? How did you get interested? Tell us that story.
Okay, so my collecting story starts in 2005. I was born in 2001. I'm 21 years old. So it started in 2005. The White Sox had just won the World Series. I was 4 years old. And we had gone over to one of my dad's coworkers' houses, and he had this huge box of cards. I was just getting introduced into baseball. I think I was just starting baseball that year. And he said, here's the cards. You figure it out. And I opened the box and I went through the cards. So I started learning stats that way. So I was like, any stat on the back, I'd be like, Dad, what's a home run? Dad, what's an RBI? Because I didn't know what that was at 4 years old. So First got introduced to that then a couple of years go by. I started going to Toys R Us, opening up packs. I want to say it was 6, 7 years old, back when they were still a company.
Yes.
And would pull packs there, mainly into baseball and football at the time. Then got into Pokemon a little bit later. And then, as usual, like a lot of kids, I feel like from age like 10 to 14, cards aren't as cool anymore. You're kind of just looked at as your peers, as just like that weird kid that's still playing with cards. So I got to age, I want to say 15, 16, back in 2015, back into cards. Started with the National coming back to Chicago in 2015 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
Went there, fell back in love with the hobby, was just buying cards to collect at the time. One of our closest family friends, he went to Indiana playing football there. So I just started collecting all the Indiana football players that were in the NFL. So that's my journey of where I got from back in 2005 to now not really to now where I'm at, but where I got started back in the hobby again.
All right. I want to go through some of these comments. We got Chance saying, what's good, FT? And Nick, what's up, Chance?
What's up, Chance?
Joel saying, we rolling? Colorado sports dude. Yo, like clockwork. Hi, y'all. What's up, Colorado? So so where are you based out of now? What city are you in?
So I am like suburbs of Chicago. You're from Chicago, correct?
Yeah, born and raised.
Yeah, so I'm in Downers Grove, about 40 minutes outside the city. I can't say Chicago because I know some people will get a little bit mad about that.
Some people will, but we're family up in here, you know?
Yeah.
We can say Chicago. I know exactly where you're from. I have some friends that live in Downers Grove or close to Downers Grove, so I understand. Well, now, are you a Cubs fan or a Sox fan?
Southside till I die. Okay. So I am a diehard Sox fan. I don't have a problem with the Cubs at all, but I'm mainly just a Sox fan.
So when it comes to collecting, just so you know, I'm a Cubs and Sox fan. Okay. It's rare in Chicago.
Yes.
But it's because of family history. You know, we came to Chicago. My father came to Chicago. He was on the north side. Then we moved to the south side when I was 2 years old. So we just rooted for both through playoff bids that we were trying to get to, World Series wins, all of that. When the Sox win, in 2005, I was just as excited as I was in 2016 when the Cubs won.
Were you in LA for both of those times?
I was in LA in 2016. In 2005, I was living in St. Louis.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Because I even not being a Cubs fan, like you had to be happy for all Cubs fans in 2016
Yeah.
because it was like you can't even compare it to anything because like the older fans, it was like one of their best moments of their life, waiting for this for years and years, and then the kids. Am I ever going to see anything like this ever again? And everybody was just going crazy. It felt like the whole city shut down for a week.
Well, a lot of Cub fans thought they would never see that in their lifetime. I can remember being in my 20s and 30s and telling people we'll probably never see this.
and I was just, I'm a Sox fan, but like I said, I'll cheer for anyone. I really like not the biggest Bulls fan, but I'll cheer for the Bulls when they're on. Don't really care. Just want to see the city do good, honestly.
All right. Did you play any sports in school growing up?
Yeah. So I, in high school, played football on the O-line, threw shot put and track a little bit. Got cut from the baseball team freshman year, so that didn't work out so well.
Okay. But at least you tried.
Well, it was honestly one of the best things that could have happened to me because I think about it now and it's like when you get cut from something, you're just like, oh, I'm not good enough. But you kind of need that slap in the face to realize like, okay, maybe this isn't my sport. Let's move on to something else that I could get better at. So
True.
I was just overall happy with that.
So let's go. So let's talk about cars now. What are you a buyer, seller, collector? What would you label yourself as? And then what are your thoughts on different aspects of the hobby?
Great question. So right now I'm in the buying, selling, and trading kind of role. I want to say this and preface this. We need collectors like us as daily traders. We need the collectors because there needs to be an end consumer. Some people don't realize, oh, I don't like the flippers. Oh, I don't like the collectors, but there needs to be an end hand where the card ends up. And that's why I love the collectors. But I am mainly in the buy, sell, trade right now. I go to a lot of shows on the weekends, buying, selling, trading, sell on eBay, sell on Instagram, sell Facebook, anywhere. But I'm not really have that collecting hat on at the moment, just finance wise. It takes a lot to build a nice PC up. So I don't really want to invest all my capital in that right now.
I understand. So are there any cars that you kind of put aside for yourself?
I mainly, so if I could find some White Sox guys that are, I like to prospect a lot. So I'll pick up a lot of those White Sox prospects when they're really, really young. I have I wouldn't say big, but I really, really like Connor McDavid, hockey player for the Oilers. And I like it personally because I could pick it up around here. And most people are not really have hockey on their mind as highly as, let's say, basketball, football, baseball. So they're I could get a Connor McDavid traded out for a Josh Allen at a pretty good value because the guy that has the McDavid does not really care about the card and he'd rather have a Josh Allen.
That's right. So we got Demetrius here. So Nick, Demetrius is a gentleman that I grew up with, and he knows my story. But he says, South side, North side, you got to pick. White Sox all day, baby. Yeah, Demetrius is a White Sox fan. It's legit. He was excited. So Demetrius, I'm a typical man. I'm an outlier. If you got that bell curve, I'm an outlier.
What would be a food spot that you would suggest for me to try on the South side?
Wow. What kind of pizza do you like?
I like deep dish. I like thin crust. I'll take anything.
Well, far south. It all depends on how far you want to go. You got Beggar's Pizza that Demetrius and I grew up on.
Ooh, that's very good.
That's kind of far south, but that's close to like Diagano's and to me, I think Uno's Pizza is kind of commercial.
Yeah, they have those in Florida now.
Yeah. That stuff is all over the place. Like, do you eat barbecue, stuff like that?
I'm a big guy.
There's a lot of food. There's a lot of food on the South Side too. Even the near South Side. Like, you been to Greektown and all that in Chicago? You been to Greektown and all that in Chicago?
Yes.
So I used to work years ago, not too far away from Greektown. I think Greektown is great. You've been to Chinatown in Chicago?
Yes, yeah.
Chinatown has great food. You've been to the north side, Addison, around Wrigley Field, even going more west into the city.
I
Great
got
food.
to hit the north side a little bit more. That's not my true blood.
Yeah, you should go to the north side, man. There are great places to eat on the near north side. I'm talking about even if you're downtown and you want to venture out for like 10, 15 minutes going north, there's a bunch of spots to eat. I don't. I'm what they call a pescatarian now. So there are some things that I do not eat. So when I went to Chicago on the north side, there was a vegan restaurant that was up there. That's to me the bomb.
Okay.
So Chicago is one of those cities which is kind of cool too, because there's so much good food. Like I don't want to diss LA, but I don't know if I can compare the food in LA to the food in Chicago.
My mom's in she lives in Tucson now, and she says the food is just nowhere close. And
Yeah,
she's
nowhere
like,
close.
that's with most places. Like you move from Chicago to somewhere else, and you're like, wow, I really was not. Or she said, I just didn't think it would be this bad. Or I was like, well, did you not think it was that good here? I'm like, I'm like, it may be that you didn't realize how good the food is here, and then you moved away, and now you're eating what's not that good in Arizona.
True. I've been to parts of Texas that has good food. There are other cities. I've been to. There are some things in St. Louis that are pretty decent. I wouldn't recommend eating a pizza. Some people may love Mo's Pizza, but not me. But to me, DC, San Diego, both are two cities that have great food.
San Diego, I can't agree with. I was down
Great
there
food, man.
this spring. It was very, very good.
And in Houston, Texas as well. I mean, you can find
Houston?
food from all over the world in Houston, Texas on the same block.
Definitely gonna have to try that out.
Yeah.
So turn it into a food podcast instead.
Oh yeah, we could talk. I mean, we're talking Chicago. There's not too many people I can get on here with and start talking Chi-Town with,
Yes.
Sylvester Lawson says, "What's up, FD?" We got Mark saying we rolling. Thank you for being here. I always like you featuring a variety of collectors on your live streams. Keep it fresh and interesting. That's what I attempt to do. I want to show all different aspects of the hobby. There are many. I think there are people that believe there's only one way of collecting or one way of being in the hobby. But what's cool about the hobby, and I talked to some people about this when I was in Vegas at the Mint Collective, there are many different things that someone can do in the hobby, find enjoyment in what they enjoy. And then over their maturation throughout the hobby, things may change. You may start doing different things as you progress. And maybe you want to collect different things. Maybe you want to break. Maybe you want to do whatever. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Nick, when I asked you the question about what do you do? I'm an advocate that all aspects of the hobby are needed. When you start talking about breaking, right? I like to know breakers and see what they think about. I like to talk to flippers to see what they're thinking about. To me, breakers use technology and bring technology into the hobby. That's a great thing, and there's going to be more things as we go forward. I mean, NFTs, and there's going to be other stuff that we don't even know about right now that's going to impact the hobby, and it's going to be from a technology perspective. And if someone says, "Oh, that's not going to happen," or "I don't believe in that," I don't know what to tell them, because I've seen evolution. I can remember when I was maybe at your age, Nick, and I remember what was happening in the hobby, and it's totally different now than it was back then. And I try to embrace change, right? Not run from it or deny that it's going to come, because it is going to come. Now, you and I will catch up a year, 2, 3 from now, and you'll say, "Yeah, man, I remember that conversation that we had, and I'm doing this now." And then I'll share with you with, "Yeah, I remember that conversation. I got out of this player, and then I put those funds into investing in another player, maybe even another sport." Right? That's all here for us. So that's the exciting thing to me.
And I totally agree in the way that, like, if you look at the hobby even 2 years ago, it is a completely different hobby than it was or what it is today. And you could say that from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just the technology, we use our phones so much more. Like when you were at a show 10, 15 years ago, were you really taking your
No.
phone out to look for comps?
No,
Like, no.
Nick, I wasn't pulling my phone out 2 years ago.
Yeah, and
A
because
year ago, I wasn't pulling my phone out. Now we
'cause
go to a show. My phone is always out.
yeah, because I think within the last, what I've seen at least in the last 2 or 3 years, people have become more okay if you come up to them and show them a comp on something
right.
and be like, "Hey, like this is the last comp. Can you come anywhere close to this?"
That's right.
And before, it was a lot of people you would show them that and be like, "I don't go by eBay comps." Well, it's like, well, everybody goes by kind of eBay comps now. I understand if there's an outlier out there, but that's one aspect. I mean, there's tons and tons of other aspects, but just showing people eBay comps and also other things like there's apps coming out now. There's different ways to track your collections. This is all things that have not been in the hobby since the big boom, and I think it's a good thing personally.
It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time.
Definitely.
And again, we're talking about technology impacting the hobby. And
Yes.
allowing us to look at things, have data at the tip of your fingers at all times, so you know what's going on. If there are changes in comps or anything, population of a card, you are aware of that. Chance says Connor McDavid is a great investment for the long. I believe that as well.
Totally agree. Unfortunately, I made a big trade getting rid of one of my big McDavids last weekend, so I moved a little bit out of that market. But if hockey could get the love that all the other sports gets, he is like the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James of his sport. Like he is at the top, and there's not really anybody close to him. So if hockey could get that love in the next couple of years, I don't know what they got to do marketing wise. I know he just got a big deal with MGM, the gambling company.
Mhm.
So hopefully hockey could market him a little better. He has less than 1 million Instagram followers, which I like to compare because Lewis Hamilton has 29 million Instagram followers.
Yeah,
So
that is important. But
yes.
hockey also just struck a TV deal.
Yes, with
So
TNT and ESPN.
yeah. You're going to see a lot more hockey on TV. And when things are, and then, I think this has been brewing with the winter game that's in different stadiums and it's on a large network. There have been years where the All-Star game wasn't even on a large network in prime time. So as that game is out there more and more and more, I think people will at least pay attention to it. McDavid, and if that's a good thing that you're looking at as far as social media followers for top players in the sport, tell you kind of what's the viewership of that sport, what kind of information are people seeking about it. Peep says, "Is hot dogs still around?" Hot dogs are still in Chicago.
Yeah, we still eat plenty of hot dogs here.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I know I saw a location. So
yeah, we still got them. You won't have a lack of hot dogs when you come to Chicago.
All right, we got Peeps saying good evening. Good evening, Peeps.
Good evening.
Eric says he's rolling. Appreciate you. Colorado, can't wait to go to a Cubs and White Sox game one day and try the Chicago dogs or some good food. There's a lot of it there for you, Colorado. Any one of you plan on traveling more or a lot these next few years to shows? What do you think, Nick? Do you travel a lot to shows?
We are trying to a little bit more this year. It's just trying to make it cost effective, and because I mean, you got hotels, you got airplanes, you got all these different costs that add up. We're gonna hopefully try to be at Dallas in May. We were at the Culture Collision trade show in February. We'll be at the National this year. So just trying to get to a show that is not in Chicago every other month or at least once a quarter.
Okay.
Because we're trying to advertise our brand as well and trying to get as best quality content out there as possible.
So let me ask you now, in Chicago, because I remember what shows used to be. Where are shows now in Chicagoland area?
That is something that, like, compared to the LA base, and
LA is different that way.
LA is different. The show life is definitely something that I am working on with a couple other people in the community because it is not.
Because I remember the Suntime show that just happened.
We just had, yep.
The National was there every 2 years.
Yep.
And then there would be some small hotel stuff.
Yes.
That would go down that you would see in the Sun-Times or the Tribune.
Yes. So
that's what I remember.
So we have, well, the Sun Time show is now called the Chicago Sports Spectacular. I think it got bought out by someone else.
Okay.
So we have that one, and that's 4 times a year, every quarter. And then we have some smaller shows locally here, Schaumburg, Orland Park, some north. You got to go to Wisconsin for most of them. They've got Oak Creek. We've got the biggest one though is the Rockford Card Show, and that's once per month at the beginning of the month. But
in Rockford, Illinois.
Oh, and that is definitely the best show, and they are making that show even bigger. That it's going to be a 370 table show in June that we're hoping to attract all the Midwest for, because
how do I find that show? Is there an Instagram page for that show?
The Northern Illinois Card Show.
Okay, so I'll make sure I start tracking what's going on now.
Yeah, so John, the guy that runs it, we've been talking about it recently, and they're going to run another show a little bit northern of that, but they're also going to be doing the Rockford one starting in June. It's going to be, like I said, 370 tables, and we're trying to get, because there's nothing like Midwest-wise. We had Shipshawana this weekend in Indiana that really attracts everybody. Kind of the spectacular, but it's in Rosemont, so it can get a little pricey. Rockford's nice because the hotels are cheap. We can make the tables cheap, and the area is cheap.
Yep.
So as long as you could get there, you're going to have a great experience there.
All right. Oh, you just taught me something, because I've kept wondering, and I know I'm going to learn a lot in this conversation. So I kept wondering about what's going on in Chicago. You talk about the third largest city in America,
and we are not, like, the community is definitely building here, but we're just nowhere near like an LA or a New York or a Philly. And it's not that it's embarrassing, but it's like we need to build this up. And there's other people locally here that we're really trying to get it better, because I want to leave something better than what I have right now. Because what we have right now is just not comparable to any of the big cities. So it's definitely something that's being worked on.
It's going to happen, man. It'll happen.
Yeah.
You know, it'll happen. I would love to come back and go to a fairly large show other than like the National in Chicago. That would be cool.
And I feel like we should have more than just one. Like you said, we're the third largest city in America. We should be able to put on more. We should have 150 table shows every weekend, because like we have the audience for it. It's just no one puts on the shows. And the guys that put on the smaller shows right now have been doing them for years and years and years. And they don't really want to get out of their ways of like promoting. Like I tried to just ask a guy, I was like, hey, can we promote this on Instagram and Facebook? We've never done that, so we don't need to start now. It's like, maybe to get more different people in here and newer, younger kids, we'll promote it on different avenues. No, Beckett venues fine.
Well, you know, that again, we're talking about that technology piece.
Yeah,
it's gonna be needed.
Yeah. So I mean, you may see some of these smaller shows not so much die off, but just dwindle over time, because they're just not taking the technology that's going to get them more people to come to their show. They're not using it at all. So we'll see.
Well, Mikey says, what was the longest break you guys took from the hobby? Thanks, guys. And why did you take a break? Nick, let you go first.
My biggest break was from that like age 10 to 15-ish range. And that was just because you, at least me as a kid, like you've just got so many other things, other directions you could go in. And I, like, at the same time, I said before, cards just wasn't cool when you were going into high school and you're in 6th through 8th grade. Now they are. Yeah. I feel I've got tons of kids that come up to me at shows and be like, me and my buddies all watch you on YouTube, or we all watch you on Instagram, and I got them into cards, and we all think it's so cool now. And I'm like, sweet, man, because I would have been like, my friends would have called me a loser if they would have saw me collecting cards when I was a freshman in high school.
Well, I remember I always say on the South Side, kids would ask me, what did you do this weekend? I may have just went to a show and got Dan Hampton's autograph, right? Or met Jim Brown or something. And kids would ask me, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I didn't do much.
And that sucks. Like, that shouldn't be how it works. Like, it should be something that you're bragging about when you go to school. And I don't like that stigma of like, oh, you do cards, or oh, like you have a hobby. It's like it's something that you should embrace. Like if anyone asks me now, like, what do you do? What do you do for a living, or like what do you do in your free time? I'm like, I buy sports cards.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a cool thing now.
Oh yeah, I
I
think it's a
brag
great.
about it.
Yeah, I think it's a
So
great thing. What's interesting too is when my son Junior tells people, "My father collects sports cards," and then he'll start talking about some players that he knows that I collect. I sit there at, like I'm telling you about when I was a child. People ask me the question, how I would answer it, and then my son is speaking about it like now, like that. I sit there in awe, like, that's it's cool. It's cool that he takes pride in it too, and he's come to one show with me. He'll be coming to more, and I just like, I think I think it's a very cool thing. I think you can learn a lot of things from collecting or buying and selling or breaking or any aspect of the hobby. You can learn a lot about life in general, how you make plans, what is your strategy on different things, how do you develop that strategy, how do you talk to people, are you shaking hands, how do you interact with folks, and I love negotiating.
it's one of the best parts.
Love it. I love talking to somebody, and it's not like I'm trying to walk away where both sides are not good with the situation. I just love the back and forth and the strategy behind, and what is that person thinking and what am I thinking. It's not like, trying to take advantage of the situation. It's just it's a fun thing.
It's like playing checkers. You're trying
That's
to
right, right? It's a
trying to
strategy.
get into the right place.
That's right. Hoffman Estates is in the house.
Let's go.
Ernest. Will Smith to the moon. Do you want to talk about this? Did you see the
Oh
Oscars
my.
last night?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So ink paper wax collector says Will Smith to the moon. So did you have a chance to see this clip? Like what went down?
I I personally think it should be a Tops Now moment. I think that would be hilarious. I think that it would
It would
sell
be.
really well. I don't know if Tops can do it, but I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if they could even they probably can't do it, but I wonder if they could
No.
get a Will Smith numbered signed card. That would be off the chain. But I just, there are many different a lot of people were open arms about this on a serious note. Some people really didn't care for it. I've talked to a few people today who thought it had a bad look on the Oscars and all involved. I talked to other people today who were questioning why it happened. I just don't know. I have some theories. I did right before we got on. I put something on YouTube, just breaking down kind of what I thought. I think this is a part of. I think there are certain things that are done to stay relevant, be in the news, something to be talked about. So everybody knows the Oscars had their highest ratings this year than probably, I don't know when the last time it was this high, because historically over the last 7 years or so, the ratings for the Oscars have been going down, down, and down. So, and
Every
most
single
people
year.
don't watch the Oscars. Statistics show that people under 30 are not watching the Oscars. Nick, do you watch the Oscars?
I didn't know it was happening until I
There
saw
you
the
go.
clip on Twitter.
There you go.
And
See, what you just said is what I'm thinking. Until you saw the clip on Twitter, until somebody saw the clip on Instagram,
exactly.
right? How do we get social media? Now we're talking about the hobby and technology. How do we get social media a play in the Oscars when those who are watching at home on their TVs are of an older age group? So how do we get the 15-year-old to the 29-year-old to pay attention to the Oscars? Or maybe somebody gets out of their sleep and slaps somebody.
I personally think that a lot of that reason for my generation, at least not watching it, is the takeover of Hulu, Netflix, all these streaming services. I've seen, like, gone to the movie theater maybe 3 times in last year. Like, I like movies, but if I could go upstairs to my room after a long day and go watch it up there, I'd way rather do that in my bed than going to a movie, spending $10 to $15, then another $5 to $10 on popcorn and a drink. So you're all in $25 to $30, and it's just not what I'm looking to do anymore. So
now let me tell you about me, right? I will go to a movie all the time. I mean, if there could be a month where I'm at a movie 2 or 3 times that month. I would usually go on a Thursday night when the movie premiered, and all my friends and family and people that know me, if their movie came out that they wanted to watch, they would either text me or I would text them first to give them a review. Right? I
okay.
also today would rather sit at home and watch a movie than go to the movie theater. So I have even flipped on that, and I'm a person that did it all the time. And so I don't know you, and we all know that when you go to the movie theater, the concession stand is what pays the theater. They're actually renting the movie to be. They're paying a fee to have that movie to be able to show it. Like I start asking questions of stuff when I go places. So I'm
Yeah.
always asking on the business sense, how does this work? How does it make sense? And so the concession stand, it's like if you go into um, Walgreens in Chicago, or here you go into CVS, the entire store is the profit, right? The pharmacy is what most people are going to, but the
Yeah.
entire store is where they get their profit from. Things are marked up considerably from their cost structure to what their profit margin is. So when you think about stuff like that, I don't know how movie theaters survive going forward, because I think more people are going to be like us right now, and we would rather stream something and watch it at home where it's convenient for us. Well, I don't have to get to a movie theater at a particular time of the day. I can get my entertainment when I want it, and it's reasonable.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And as well, like you could see my generation, we are flowing into the no patience at all. We want, like, for this podcast, my generation may not watch a 200 or 2 hour podcast,
Mhm.
but they'll watch a 10-minute clip.
Yeah.
So the
Sure.
shorter amount of time, even trying to get some of my friends to go to a movie, how long is it? Oh,
Mhm.
Batman's 3 hours? Yeah, no chance I'm going.
Mhm.
So even keeping the attention span of someone my age to go to a movie theater for 3-4 hours, it's a tough sell.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Now,
Yeah.
how does that mindset, right? The patience, because I talk
Ooh.
about this a lot. How does that impact the hobby? When you buy a card for $20 or whatever it may be, whatever dollar amount it is, dollar amount X, when you purchase a card for that, what is the return that you're looking on that card and what time frame?
That's a very, very tough question, in the way that I will buy certain things and know, okay, I'm going to be patient on this card. So when I'm picking up Bowman Chrome prospects, first of guys that are 17, 18, 19 years old, I either go in with going in knowing, okay, I'm going to buy this card, grade it, and then sell it right after I get it, or I'm
Mhm.
going to buy the card, grade it, and then sit on the guy for 2-3 years and decide if I want to keep this guy long term. So before you buy that card, you got to realize, okay, what are my goals with this? Is my goal to sit on this long term and see the guy grow into being an all-star, if that's prospecting, or is it I'm going to buy this card and quick flip it at 20, 30, 40%? So I think it just really depends on the card. Me personally, long term, I look at like prospecting and goats, but quick flips, I like to do base cards, anything that's not super rare, anything that's basically just you could find at any table at a card show. I like to
Mhm.
quick flip that stuff.
Yeah, I understand. I understand your strategy. I can
Yeah.
get that. So, Amy, I want to make sure I showcase Amy's question. Yesterday, we were having a conversation. Amy thought I was ignoring her. But Amy, do you still have the 1978 style Acuna and Soto Topps rookie? Yes, I do. I found that Austin Meadows and Rice Hopkins I was looking for. Austin Meadows and Rice Hopkins, that would be a great card. The cool thing to me, whenever I think about the 78 version of the Acuna and Soto card, is that when I pick that card up in a PSA 10, I only pay like a little over $100 for it. And those are the things that I try to find sometimes. Those are the cool. I always say this, Nick. You could go into a show with $5,000 and spend it on one card. But to me, the art of the strategy side is if you go into a show and you find those deals along the way, that your total spend may be whatever amount it is, whatever your budget is, whatever you decided to do. But what did you find, and at what dollar amount, and then what life cycle of the card? Because to me, every card has a life cycle. So we talk about the cards that are $100,000, 200,000, $1 million, but at some point that card was $500, $1,000. And then when we focus on what we say now are the GOATs, the Jordans, the Mike Trouts, who are the next people coming?
Yeah.
Because there are players coming from your generation, Nick, and even at people that are coming after you that we need to pay attention to. Here, there are going to be some people that you're probably going to be flipping later that we don't even know about right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I talk about the life cycle. So whenever I think about this card, I just think about when I saw it. I was excited about the 78 style of it. I knew Acuna and Soto were good players.
When you say life cycle, do you mean like, let's say that Acuna started at $2 and now it's up to 200? Are you saying the life cycle, it could get to 500? Or what do you mean by that?
500. One day it could be 2,000. One day it could be 50,000. But at some point, that card was very affordable to the masses that may be collecting. Then at another point in that card's life of being out, the player, even in post-retirement, that card is going to get to a value that most people cannot afford.
Yep.
But if the art of it is, can you find that card when it is affordable? And that's when the real strategy begins.
Yeah.
Right? You walk on a table, you walk on a show, you're looking at tables. There's going to be a card on that table that's further along in the development of that card as far as a market value. There are going to be some cards on that table that people may not talk about for 5 years. Can you find that card today?
Yeah. I think of that in the way, one person that I'm like really, I don't do much basketball, but the one guy that I just keeping my eye on is Anthony Edwards. Like he's got that.
I like Anthony Edwards.
I think he just gets out of Minnesota and he's got a chance to be, I don't know if it's an all-time great, but he just has it. I feel like there's not money that have like that it factor. He's got like the swagger. He's got the marketability. Everybody talks about him being like the best at everything he does: basketball, football, baseball, everything he does.
Golf well. I've heard this.
Yeah. So that's just one guy that I'm looking at right now in the way that he may be, his prism may be 150 now, but that's one that I could see at being 1,000.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can you spot that? Can you spot the play? Let's look at Giannis, right? Nobody knew who he was going to be.
Can I give a great Giannis story real quick?
Go ahead.
2016 National. I was going through a dollar bin, and I wanted, like, I just remember, because you could remember cards when you see them.
You can. Yep.
I want to say there was 40, 45 Giannis's. They were like $6 to $7 a piece. And I was just like, who is this random Greek guy? Like, who is this guy from Greece? I bought one and I was happy. It like 3 or 4 weeks later, I think he had a decent game, or he had a decent preseason game. I flipped it for $20 and I was like, awesome. Never really thought about it. And then his prices started to go up and Gary Vee started to talk about it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, if I would have bought all 40 of those Giannis's, it would have been a different story for me.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff like, and in today's NBA, you got a guy coming out. He spends 1 year in college. Typically, we all know him. He's going to be 1 year in college. He's not going to be like Grant Hill 4. He's not going to be like Lou Alcindor, who spent 4. He spent it 1 year. So he played high school ball. He spent 1 year in college. Now he's playing against really grown, experienced men. Yes. So then it may take him, especially a point guard or a big man, power forward, center, it may take him 2, 3, 4 years or more to actually mature. So when you're ripping packs or you're opening stuff up, well, like we've seen videos of legendary players, their rookie year stuff is open, and people aren't even sleeving them up because they don't even know who that player is. But then later you look at like a prime example, like Steph came out, right? Steph Curry came out. He had 2 years where he was really out of commission because he had ankle surgery.
Yeah.
He was going through rehab. You don't know who that guy is. You don't know he's going to be the all-time three-point shooter. You have no idea. And you've never seen someone play like him because you saw Ray Allen coming off screens and you saw Reggie Miller coming off screen. So who's the guy pulling up, creating his own shot at the 3-point? You never saw that. So the game continues to evolve. And then the players are evolving as well. So then at some point you start seeing like, oh man, this player is special.
Yeah. And for as small as he was too, like nobody thought, oh, this guy's
I know.
small.
I did. I told several friends he's too small to play point guard in the NBA.
Too small, bad ankles, and the only good thing about him was people were saying his dad played in the NBA, so maybe he could do something because of that. Right. But you never know. people are throwing you could think of all the guys over the year. They'll have either a really, really good year and people will buy their stuff really, really crazy. Mm-hmm. If that was one that just comes to mind right now is Michael Carter Williams. I remember he had Rookie of the Year, and then I think after that can't really remember where he even went after that.
No.
So
I remember seeing him on autograph signings. Then I don't know what this guy is. I watched him play a couple of times. I didn't see what I needed to see when I watched him. So
yeah,
I love podcasts. I love StaknSell's 10 tips for setting up at a card show. Let's dig into that. If someone is setting up at a card show, what should they do? And so everybody out there, we're going to get into some more comments here right after this. So I'm going to come to you. I see everything here that's there. So I'm going to come to you. But speak upon that. I don't know if you want to go through all 10 or you want to give a highlight of what someone should be considering, but speak on it.
Okay. So, I mean, not just I'll plug it a little bit, but I would suggest go watch the full video.
Yep.
But I'll just go through these really quickly. First off, I would suggest just pricing your cards, because if you go into a show and you don't do cards full time and you're just going in to sell some cards, you may throw a comp at or say, okay, that card's $60, or it's really $100 card, or it's really a $5 card. So I would suggest pricing everything out if possible. If you have the time, price it out. Next thing, if you're going in with cards over $50, $40, I would suggest getting a showcase. You can get them on Amazon. There's a couple other websites that you could buy them off directly. Under $150, it's a big first investment, but after that, you're pretty good. You don't really have to invest in a second one. So I would say a showcase. Next thing I would say is make sure I put all my cards in either a graded card sleeve or like this for one touch bag. So have your stuff in a little bit of a protective bag so you're not bagging your cards up against each other and you have things looking a lot cleaner. So I would suggest that. Go in with money. If you want to go to a show and sell, I personally think when you're on the selling side, you're also getting the best deals with people walking up to you and stuff. So come in with a little money. If you're just going to sell, then I understand. Just go to sell. But I personally find the best deals walk up to me at shows. For people wanting to sell or wanting to get out of the hobby, they'll just sell you their whole collection sometimes.
Well, you're in the Midwest. Are people using Zelle and Venmo?
Yes, Zelle, Venmo. Some will use Cash App. And I mean, some will use PayPal. And then there's some guys who won't touch it at all. But I'll take anything. Money's money to me.
That's right. That's right. So we got the rookie card finder. If only you knew what's in hot dogs. When I started understanding what's in hot dogs is when I kind of pulled back on the hot dogs. And we talked about movies earlier. I remember almost every movie that I would go see, I would at least eat a hot dog.
And then you stop eating hot dogs?
Just
what's your new go-to food then?
I don't eat anything when I go to a movie theater now.
Okay.
I always say if movie theaters had every customer that was like me, there would be no movie theaters.
Because you don't eat anything there now?
I don't eat anything. I may get something to drink, and that's rare. But I really don't do it. I just go see the movie, and then I'm out.
It's definitely the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah, especially with ticket prices of that. Jeff McMahon. I like that Detroit Tigers logo. NHL on ESPN is mostly streaming on ESPN Plus. TNT coverage is much better. Even if it's on ESPN Plus, it's beyond what we have now.
Yes, and I will agree the TNT coverage is better because it's got Wayne Gretzky and it's got Paul Bissonnette. So I like those two guys a lot. But I personally stream my Oilers games on ESPN Plus, so I really do appreciate that because I can't get them here in Chicago.
Sylvester Boston, do you think the NHL needs to have a team be a dynasty to bring more interest to the sport?
There's already a dynasty. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. They went back to back, and they have a really good chance to go 3 in a row this year too. So they've been able to work around the salary cap because the NHL is not really making that much money compared to all the other leagues in America right now. Like they are definitely lowest on the growth wise. Like every year, almost every single league, the salary cap goes up. And when the pandemic hit, their salaries stayed stagnant. So a lot of the teams were projecting that they were going to get money in the future, and it stayed stagnant. So like a team like Tampa, they've had to go out there and buy low-end contracts to fill out their roster now.
I remember what was so cool. I'll tell the story to some people. When I lived in St. Louis, we would go out. I was in school and then I was working there for a little bit. So I would go out with some friends and go to Clayton, Missouri. And then Clayton, Missouri is where the St. Louis Blues all hung out. So you could have dinner. Literally, with some of the coolest professional athletes I've ever met. You could have dinner and then go over to like this lounge area and just kick back with the St. Louis Blues players, and for hours they would just chill out, talk to people about many different things. I gained a lot of respect at that point for NHL overall and NHL players as far as how accessible they were and how cool they were with fans.
Yeah, I've had interactions with Patrick Kane and one of their other players, Dylan Stroman. Always just super nice guys. I ran into Strom at a bar one time and had a conversation with me. Nicest guy in the world. Never like a super. Not saying that NBA, NFL, MLB players are like Hollywood, but they'll give you the time of day.
Yeah. I met Chris Chelios one time in Detroit at his restaurant. And he was talking like, we were just standing out in the parking lot, just talking, asking me about me. And it's just a different vibe. Now, I don't know if every NHL player is like that, but I'm just giving a snapshot of my experience with a franchise for 3 years. And the players that were on that team, I've never experienced that with any other professional sport.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we talked about this one. Chance, that joke was as bad as making fun of someone with cancer. Let me know which one you're talking about, Chance.
I think they're talking about the Chris Rock joke.
Oh yeah. There was some talk about if he knew ahead of time what was going on with Jada Pinkett Smith.
He claimed that he didn't, and me personally, when a comedian makes a joke, they're paid to be comedians, so they're making jokes.
That's right.
So to me, I didn't take much of. I don't think she should have taken offense to it. She didn't. Maybe she did, but I think comedians are paid to be funny, and sometimes they bomb on jokes. Sometimes they go right. Sometimes they go wrong. That one did not go right.
Because when I didn't know, right? I think he had publicly come out and talked about this, but I didn't know. I wasn't aware. I just thought, because I know people that just cut their hair off. So I thought she had just cut her hair off. And that was a new style for her. But I understand where people might be coming from. And sometimes, in a situation, her fans may be more, have a problem with that more than she does. Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, and Chris Rock have known each other for a long time. Then they're pretty close friends. So I don't know. Ernest Anderson, a new UFC Will Smith card would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Like we were talking about earlier, if they did like a Topps card where he was in the act of swinging or something. And
that would be something really, really cool.
I wonder if a card company would even touch that. I don't know. A rookie card finder, violence is unacceptable, but so are jokes these days. Yeah. Unfortunately, I question if he even came in contact with Chris Rock's face.
So you think it was all staged?
Oh yeah,
I could definitely see that too.
Yeah, it was
because they haven't got they haven't got the ratings in years, so they had to give. I mean, like you look on every single. There was,
all day long.
literally, even Colin Cowherd was talking about him today.
All day long.
And Colin Cowherd talks sports. He
Yeah.
never goes into any sort of like anything that's going around in the world. He got into that. So,
And I think that was the purpose.
yeah. And I mean, will it attract people to come back next year? I don't know, but I guess that's what they were looking for.
But I think if there's some unexpected things that may happen, you may be more apt to just flip by and see if you see something, or maybe a friend calls you and you're more open to, the Oscars are doing the same thing this year. You never know.
Oscars are that'd be funny.
Joey says, "What's up, FD?" Joey, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Mike, I would love to ask, what was the best profit you made on one single card? Nick.
That was like I said, the last video that I put out last week. I had bought a Connor McDavid back in 2017, the National, for after selling the other cards off, $600, and I got back. I won't give out the value, but $15,000 plus in value I got back on a trade over a little over 4 years. So yeah, that was my biggest flip.
There you go. There you go. So the question is, now we go back, we talk about patience, right? You held on to that card for 4 years.
Yep.
Are people willing to do that?
I don't see it a lot from, I think the number one thing like my generation lacks is patience. Like TikTok is a anti-patience app.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is anti-patience because you don't like a video, just swipe on to the next one. And it's just teaching our generation, no, you don't have to be patient. So I think the people that are doing the best right now are those who can be patient on certain things and can be patient on certain cards that don't hit the market very often. And that McDavid that I sold does not hit the market at all. So,
when I was at the National, there are some cards that I've purchased over time, and there were a few questions. I'm not saying everybody was running up to me asking a question, but there were a few questions like, are you still holding on to that card? I was like, yeah. If you watch a Roll with FD, you know what I do, right? I'm making a buying decision up front for years at a time. And it has to be a certain player. I go through a whole thing as far as watching sports to understand what am I seeing in that player, where they're at in their development. I've known a lot of people that have played football, basketball, and baseball. I've watched a lot of those sports over time. So I spent a lot of time just watching that person. We know that baseball, anything can happen, right? Somebody could be 27 years old and tearing the world up. And by 30, just like football, they might even be in the sport.
Prime example. You would have thought he was the biggest figure in all of Chicago, Chris Bryant, just a couple of years ago.
Prime example.
He was an MVP, top of the world.
Destroying the ball.
Like playing a superb third base, like amazing player. And now he's in
Colorado.
He's in Colorado, and maybe you'll hear his name a couple times this year. Like, guys just go from all the way at the top to they'll take a bag somewhere and you won't hear their names, maybe at the All-Star game, because the Rockies will need at least one player from their squad.
Well, now in a sport like that, right? I'm already thinking that. Then we talk about pitchers. You don't know where a pitcher is going. No. So where are you going to really, I'm thinking a longer term strategy. Where are you going to really invest in that game? You got to find a certain kind of player that you think, is going to do something. Some people think Mike Trout. Some people think Acuna. Some people right now are thinking Soto. Then you have some prospects that are coming up. You got the young man that's in Pittsburgh, that's 6'7", playing infield position.
O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, O'Neal Cruz. Right? Yeah. People are starting to talk about him. I saw a show the other day on MLB Network where they rolled off top 100 prospects in baseball. A lot of names there. There's only so many people that we're going to be talking about for the Hall of Fame or as a great investment in cards. So these are the things I talk about where you got to have I just think I have to be focused on what am I doing and where am I putting my funds. And then now there are some prospect players that if the price is right, I may take a chance on that player. But I'm not going to spend 5 figures on a player that I don't really know their pedigree, their resume, or what are they doing. So those are kind of things I think about. And it goes even into basketball. There's some, and that's a volatile market. So you got some players that do very well for short periods of time. So those are the things that I think about. And I think I talk to some people sometimes that that's a totally different strategy than what others may be thinking about. But that's what's so cool, like we talked about earlier, about the hobby, right? There's many different things you can do.
Everybody's got their own way. Me personally, I will have like a certain pool of money that I'll just use on prospects. So if that's, let's say, $5,000, let's say I take $100 card and turn it into 300. That way, then I'll spend 300 on the next prospect. If I could get to a 5-figure card on a prospect that I've just kept flipping my money over and over on, then I may take a chance on that card. But if you're starting off with a low amount, I would not suggest just getting right into prospecting, because it's a lot of research. And even if you do all the research in the world, there's no guarantee that this 20-year-old kid will make the right decisions in life and put the right things in their body and be what everybody expects them to be. So be aware of that also when you're investing.
That's true. So we got Sport Card Times stacking. Any updates on the scan reviews?
Ooh, so I will be putting a new scan review video out next week.
There we go.
So basically I'm trying to help people automate their businesses in the way that you scan your cards. So I'm looking at different scanners that scan cards at a faster speed. My one that I use right now is the Epson V600. I know it's kind of popular for graded cards, but it only does 2 to 3 cards per minute. So some of these other scanners can do 40 to 60 cards per minute. So you're 15xing, 20xing your business with just changing a piece of equipment. So hopefully in the near future, I'll have some more videos on that.
So for those who are unfamiliar with scanning cards, right? Is there any fear of damaging a card while you're scanning it?
So in my last scanning video, you could see that fear. So the only way that you could scan them with the Epson E400, I want to say, the only way that you could scan those was doing it with no sleeve and no top loader. But I have it on the way, the Fujitsu F600. You could do that in the top loader and it scans the card front and back. So being able to have that card in the top loader helps with the ensuring that the card's going to be safe once it goes through there. The only thing that I would not suggest is putting anything thicker than just a regular thin card. Don't put any sort of bigger top loaders in there, because that's where you cause jams.
Okay. I thought that question, somebody would be out there like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey M., did you guys know that there's a law that prohibits establishments from lowballing each other's stores' gas prices? I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Joey, you have just educated us. I did not know that. I do know gas prices are high. I do know I've read stories about people taking other people's gas.
Oh, I saw a video on that the other day. Like a guy putting his tube into this guy's gas tank and trying to extract his gas into his gas tank. And the guy
was that the video where the guy got confronted about it?
Yeah,
I saw that video. Then he tried to walk away.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm like,
wow. He's like, I want to hear your apology.
Yeah. It's like, go get your own gas, man. Everybody's dealing with, what is it out there? 6?
It's a little over $6.
Woo!
What is it in Chicago?
420 to 4. If you go in the city, it's like it gets closer to 5 though.
Yeah, I think I know my brother's in Houston. He said the same thing.
Okay,
but I can remember. I tell the story more now that gas prices are where they were. I remember when gas was 92 cents a gallon. I was in college, man. Gas was 92 cents a gallon. Went to 96, right? And I remember one day I'm driving. I'm going to get gas, and gas had officially went over $1. And
was everybody going crazy?
I was going crazy.
Oh my
I was like, how the hell is gas over $1? How do they expect for people to get stuff done? And now,
yeah, it
and my
sucks.
father tells stories back when gas was like 25 cents. So
Oh my god, I just think of it. Everybody's dealing with it. Sucks, but hopefully it goes down soon. That's all I
hopefully
can
that's
say.
what I think.
Yeah.
Joel said the thing with goats is there has to be a new class to goatness. Prospect on, my friends. Oh, well, I personally believe that the term goat is a loose term in the hobby. That's a loose term.
Yeah.
You can be a good player. You're not a goat.
No.
You can be consistently good. You can score 18 points a game, 19 points a game for several years. You're still not a goat.
And you put that across any sport. You could prospect for goats all you want, but to get into that, people say goats is top 10, top 20, top 30. It's so hard to prospect on guys that are
Oh
going
yeah,
to
starting out. Yeah. Think about all the play. I can think about players in the 90s to early 2000s who were really getting after something in the NBA, and they're not even Hall of Famers right now. They probably
like
never
who?
will. Oh, like Mike Bibby was a top player.
Okay. I'm even thinking even like Hall of Fame guys that I'm just ran off my head, but Reggie Miller, he's a Hall of Famer, and there's other guys that are in the NBA right now. Kawhi Leonard, probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he will be.
But you got to think like long term, is he going to be regarded as one of the goats? Because if he's not, then what's his price going to do? Because once everybody retires, there's got to be a end collector in mind. There's got to be the end guy that ends up with the Kawhi NTRPA.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not thinking, oh, like Kawhi's good right now and he's got XYZ chips, that's great. But where is his ceiling? If he can't get to that top 20 all time, then you probably shouldn't be spending over $10,000 on a player that probably is not going to be there.
And then the intangible is personality, likability. I talk about this a lot. Those are the things that take a card's value from here to just here, because you can relate to that player, you like them, and it's like, a lot of people are thinking the same way. You talk about Steph Curry, you think one thing. Typically, he's relatable. You can relate to that guy.
Yeah.
When he opens his mouth, he says stuff that is well thought through, and people can appreciate that. You can see LeBron's likability has dropped some for whatever reason it is. It has dropped some. KD he has ghost accounts and he's talking to people, but he kind of goes up and down on that likability thing. Then you have Kyrie Irving. His likability is low with a lot of people.
Yeah. So you got,
on the court,
they're up there at, he's one of the best ball handlers of all time,
mm-hmm.
but he could be one of the best ball handlers of all time. But if there's not going to be a collector out there that wants to buy his expensive stuff long term, then there may not be a point in investing in him long term because people don't like his personality.
Even Giannis is a likable guy.
Yes, super grateful for everything. Just super like. I think I look at Giannis. He's like a big kid. Like I saw him last year when the day after they won the finals, he's going to Chick-fil-A and getting
nuggets.
He's getting nuggets, and like, yeah, I'll take
Talking
pictures.
to people at the window, signing a few autographs.
Yeah,
he's always with his brothers. They're family.
Yes. He's all about family, and as like that's something that everybody could relate to. Everybody loves their family. And like compared to a guy like, we'll stick in Wisconsin, Aaron Rodgers, not very relatable. Like,
no, not very relatable. Says things in press conferences that are like,
and it's like he's not. It's. Are you relatable? Are you a team player? He let his best wide receiver walk because he wanted to take $50 million. So,
but then you got Tom Brady over here taking pay cuts.
Yes,
to ensure that he has a team around him.
Yes, so. The relatability is huge when
very
investing long term.
Very important. Hold up. First, we got Sam Rothstein. Sam, what's up? Sam Rothstein is another good content creator.
Definitely got to have him on here. He's one of
Yeah.
the.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't reached out to Sam yet, but I definitely plan to have him on.
Oh yes, he's definitely someone that does a great job like producing his content in the
Yeah,
way
he
that
does.
the shots that he gets, the way he edits his videos.
Mhm.
Very, very jealous of what he's doing right now.
Well, the
He's
way
making
he
some great
shoots
stuff.
his own video with a camera and then edits it is like it's unique.
Yes, very unique.
Have you all bumped into it each other at the show?
We have not bumped. I found his stuff on YouTube. I shot him a DM, and we've been in communication now. But we're gonna meet up at. There's a show, like a bigger show going on in Indianapolis. I want to say in
Okay.
June, so we'll meet up there.
I can't wait to see what you all walking the show is like and you all meeting up. I think it's gonna be cool.
Oh
Sam,
yeah,
thank you for being here.
yeah,
Mikey, great point, boys. Buy them low, hold them, and wait. Yep, you gotta get the right stuff though. You know,
yeah.
however way you come about. Some people stumble into some things. Um, I've heard several stories about people that stumbling into something, but to really go out and have a strategy and find that treasure, that's the exciting part. Our rookie card finder. I have a LeBron James perforated magazine rookie. Is that SI for kids?
LeBron James. I would have no idea,
Yeah, let me
honestly.
know what that is, rookie card finder. What's it worth? You gotta let me know what that is. I'm probably going myself go on eBay and look up some eBay comps. That's what I would suggest for you to do as well. Is the card graded or not? What condition is the card in? If it's not graded, all that goes into the effect. But I'd be interested to know. Tim, Trey Young, my dudes. All right, Trey Young,
He's got a personality
definitely got a
that
personality.
helps.
Yeah,
He shoots the three, and he's got a personality.
yeah. Rookie card finder said Trey is cheap right now. That's true. His prices have dropped some. Some cars that were unaffordable to a lot of people now are more affordable. Ja is the one that has taken off though.
Oh yeah, a lot
So
this year.
just be aware of
But
that. As you're
the
looking
one,
for Trey, some people will probably be talking about Ja.
my only thing that scares me about Ja is living in the city of Chicago. He looks a lot like Derrick Rose to me.
He
He's a
does.
little bit lighter than him too. So if he could learn to shoot the ball a little bit more, I think that would be
Speak on
huge for
this.
him.
Speak on it.
You want me to
I
speak
say
on
all the
this?
time, Nick. I say all the time. Small guards don't last.
Small guards, he's either 184 or 174 pounds. If he does not learn to shoot, there is no way, like, argue with me this all day. There is no way that he is going to last in this
I
league
agree.
because he is going to keep driving to the net. And one time he's going to run into a Rudy Gobert or one of these big centers, and they are just going to take him down to the floor, or he's going to get caught up in two guys under the net already. And I saw it with Derrick Rose. You tear one ACL, it leads to so many other things in the future. So me personally, I think John Morant is one of the worst investments right now because I think he's gotten a way too expensive, and I think that he is just prone to get an injury. I don't want to predict an injury. Hope
Neither
it
do I.
never happens.
But you
But
and I are thinking on the exact same path. I've even said in other lives what you just said. Small guards don't last. He needs a mid-range jumper. He's worked on the three, so his 3-point shot looks better just from a technique standpoint. How he's processing going through the shot motion looks a lot better. But he cannot look at Dwayne Wade. So anybody out there is like, man, these two guys, Nick and Nip, they don't know what they're talking about. Look at Dwayne Wade. His career is really cut short.
Yep.
If LeBron is still playing, why is Dwayne Wade? He's been gone. Why is that? That's because he was always on the ground. And Jordan told him earlier, if you don't get off the ground, he worked to get off more. But if you don't get off that ground, your career is going to be cut short. And that's what it was. And a small guard hitting the ground is just like a running back running the ball, getting tackled and hitting the ground. So you can say if he drove 24 times and hit the ground half, that's a bunch. That's 24 connections between somebody and probably the ground.
Yeah.
And it will wear you out.
And you see it's not just one guard. It happens every single year. There's always that small guard that runs into the lane and tears an ACL, and it's just I don't want to see it happen, but I could already see it happening. Some sort of injury because it just doesn't work in the NBA.
Yeah, that's my fear on him too. It's kind of hard for me. Other people tell me that they think differently. I respect that. It's just hard for me to make a significant investment. Well, I just don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
So Chen says, my buddy from Charlotte played with Steph in the AAU, and man, he was small. None of the guys who was in that league thought he would be, yeah, where he is today because his shot elevated his game to the point where he has less contact. So we're talking about small guards right now. Think about if Steph was driving in and on the ground.
He would
He's
have
not
his
gonna get
career would
around.
have been over.
Yeah.
Like he would have probably been a 5-year player because he was out the first 2 years. Let's say he keeps driving to the net for the next 3, he would have been done after 5-6 years.
Yep.
So
It's proven, people.
yes,
It's proven. Hero 3, I just pulled a yellow Jalen Green from the one out of Hoops Packs. Big pull for me. That is a big
nice.
pull. It's a nice card. Travis, what do both of your card show tours look like the next couple of months? Where are you gonna be at, Nick?
Local shows here, I will be at. So locally, we have Cherville, Indiana next week or this weekend. And then after that, we have the Northern Illinois show. And I want to say the week after that is Dallas. I may be wrong on that, but it's usually just stuff locally here. So I'll go up to Oak Creek one time in Wisconsin. So just local shows for me.
I'm going to be at the Del Mar show coming up at the end of the month. That's Del Mar, California.
Is that the Union show?
Yes, that's the Union show.
Okay. I got invited to that, but I was unfortunately not able to go. So let me know how that goes.
Well, if you ever come out to California, please let me know. Or if you come close,
Okay.
let me know.
Awesome.
So I will definitely let you know how it is.
Okay.
I'm going to be there. I'm expecting it's going to be a great show. Just from some stuff that I've heard already, it's going to be a great show. So there's also the card stock trading show that is coming up. There's a Burbank show that's not connected. It's in Burbank, but it's not connected to Burbank Sports Cards. I plan to at least walk that show, see what that show looks like and what's on the tables. And then in August, there's going to be the Burbank show. That's going to be at the Burbank Convention Center here in California. And sometime this summer, I'm going to make it up to the Bay Area.
Nice. Is that Bay Area show's coming in a couple weeks, correct?
Yeah, there's a show April 2nd and 3rd. That's going to be a great show.
Okay.
Then there's another show that's coming up the Sunday after, April 10th.
Nice.
But Bay Area is a nice market. The time that I've been up there, I went to a Fairfield show a few months ago. That was a great show. And the people who are collecting there are energetic. Most vendors that I saw were willing to have conversations and negotiate on stuff. It's a different energy than LA, which is also good. San Diego is a different energy than San Francisco, which is also good. So there are 3 kind of big markets here, shows to go to. And we're going to try to have more of a presence in the Bay Area throughout this year. And then we'll be announcing soon. We're going to give an update video that talks to where we're going to go, because I won't be at the second, the second, third, and the 10th in the Bay Area. We're going to talk about where I am going. And then when I do get to the Bay Area, we're going to give people plenty enough time to get to that show so they know about it. And then I'm probably going to do something a little bit different with that show as far as meeting and interacting with people. We're going to come up with something a little different.
Awesome. Are you more of you like to walk shows more? You don't really do the setting up at shows?
We set up one time at a show. I like to walk shows. I like to kind of be on the move and move around. I think the biggest thing for me, like I wanted to set up so I could learn other aspects of the hobby. I am not a person that thinks I know everything about the hobby. I don't think I ever will know everything. So I wanted to put myself in someone else's shoes. I walk up all the time and I negotiate on the other side of the table. Let me see what it's like to price my cards, organize myself, set up, have conversations throughout the day, see what that feels like, learn from it. So that's why I did it. I want to do it again at some point this year to do that again and this time I would do more of like what you talked about. This time, Nick, I went to the show. I put cards right on the table. Right. I only had like 8 cards.
Yeah.
So I want to do more of what you talked about earlier in our time here, as far as getting a setup, maybe even having something on the table that has my brand on it. something to lock my cars up so that I have to open it to show the card to someone, things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, I think I would suggest anybody set up some time. It's good to learn.
Even if you don't have a showcase, if it's like a smaller, I would not suggest going to like a spectacular, like a $350 50 table show and setting up for your first time. Don't do that. Go to a show that's, I don't know how big your shows are out there, but anything like under 100 or under 50 tables, try for that local show. If you're not going to have a showcase or anything, just give it a try. You may like it a lot more than walking shows. You may not like the aspect of asking people on prices, or I don't know. Some people are their own thing. I love walking and I love setting up because I get to talk to people either way. So learn what works for you. I would at least suggest trying it one time though.
At least once. George says we're rolling. George, I appreciate you. Tim says Trey is great and cheap. That's an investment combination, if you ask me. I cannot disagree with you, Tim. Trey is still young in his career. There's a lot of room for growth there. He's also a person who attempts to shoot more than some other, than driving and being on the ground. So, and I don't think he's built for too much banging, as I would say, or getting in the mix of things. So at least he tries to play it wisely. It'd be interesting to see over the next 2 years what he does. And I think by then we'll know exactly who Trey Young is.
Yeah.
George D, spring training party.
I mean,
Oh, cool.
Sure. Let's go. Let's all go down to Camelback Ranch in Arizona.
Yeah, I've been to Camelback. That's a nice area. That would be
I've not
cool.
been there yet. I got to get down there though.
Rookie car finder. Wow, nice flip. That was a nice flip, Nick, that you shared. Ranger second, 75th, rolling with FD. Anyone remember the Jordan Star card? Not seeing many these days. Yes, I remember. We talked about it on a few lives before. Jordan Star cards are being graded by BGS now. PSA is not grading them, but I see prices on Beckett cards graded slab and a pretty decent grade from Star. There are nice values. So
that's the one with it's the red.
Yes.
Red one? Yeah, okay. I've seen that card. They've got it for different players, correct, too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Star was the company that was releasing cards when Jordan was, I think, really a rookie.
Yeah.
But Nick, the issue with those when I was like quite a few years ago, they were being counterfeited. Like most of the time, if you saw a Star card, it was counterfeited. So the value just dropped. Everybody went to the 86 Flair. And that's why the 86 Flair is considered as Jordan's rookie card, even though it's not his rookie year.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know, well, this is just something that I learned last week. So one of my buddies, he had sold a Kobe Bryant auto from whatever the company,
Skybox?
Maybe not Skybox. It was whatever Ken Golden owned before he got into Golden Auctions. He owned a card company. Mm-hmm. And he had Kobe Bryant autos, and the only way that it would say it was authentic, there was a little white piece of paper on the back of the card that would say, this is an authentic Kobe Bryant auto. That was the only way that you could tell. Mm. But the problem was they don't authenticate the cards anymore because you could print that little piece of paper off at home and say, oh, this is authenticated by whatever the company was.
Was the company called Classic or?
I just want to say it was a 97, 98 product when Kobe was a rookie. Okay. It was signing autos back then, but they don't authenticate them through PSA or BGS at all anymore because they can't guarantee if that little piece of paper is real or not.
Yep.
So
interesting. That counterfeiting changes the market.
Yes.
Love what you collect. We're rolling. Appreciate you being here, Erica. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to have Erica on the show coming up soon. Look out for her. Love what you collect. It's going to be a cool time. George D had to clean the aquarium today. Has anybody out there had a decent size to large size aquarium? That is no joke, cleaning.
No thanks.
It's no joke. We had an aquarium as kids, and I would help my father clean. It's just a lot of work. There are things in life. People say, man, I want a dog. You go get something cute. You go get something like a Dalmatian. Before you know it, that dog could be. You can't even control the situation. You take the dog for a walk. There are certain breeds that may look a certain way, but they need physical exercise and activity. If anybody owns a terrier, you need to work that dog out almost every day.
Yep.
They're bred to work. So, and then there are some plants. A lot of people I've known who planted ivy at their house. Ivy took the whole backyard over. There's nothing that can happen. People who have had rabbits, and then before they know it, they have 6 rabbits. There are things that it may look cool, but having fish and properly cleaning the aquarium, and they get the pH balance of the water right, you signed up for something there.
It's a whole process.
Just be aware. George C. Marvel still hyped? What do you think about Marvel, Nick?
I personally, I think it's something that's going to stay, but I think the craziness of PMGs is going to come down a little bit soon. I think people are like always, the hobby gets smarter. So there's going to be a different variation or a different card from whenever, 96, 97, or whatever it is. There's going to be a new numbered card that people discover and is like, oh, well, PMGs is that expensive. Why don't I go buy XYZ? So I would say personally, look right now for any sort of numbered stuff that isn't at the price of PMGs yet, and maybe put your money into that. Because I think Marvel's here to stay. They're a probably $1 billion company. And I don't see the movies or the comics going away anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. I get really excited about comic books. So when anybody talks about Marvel, I know they're probably referencing the cards. I get really excited about comic books. There's a lot of movies that are coming. We have the schedule for Marvel on what is coming. But there's going to be a lot of TV shows and other plays. Moon Knight is coming very soon here. I think in the next few days that will be out. So there's going to be a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies, a lot of movie posters. How does that play? Marvel cards, I agree. I think there's still going to be a market for it. It's just, how do you navigate through that? I talked to Sin City Rips, who was at the Mint Collective. I don't know if Sin City is on or not, but he collects Marvel cards, and we had some great conversations. He's one of the first people I really sat down with and had listened to what he was saying about Marvel cards. I think there are plays there. I think he has a strategy for making plays, which I think he's going to be rewarded for that. So, there are going to be kind of the hobby is going to move throughout different things to collect, different sports cards to collect. Just be aware of that. But that doesn't mean that that's not a good investment or a good flip or a good scenario to conduct business or invest in something with different types of cards. Doesn't mean that. We know Zero Cool just came out with Be Friends.
Yep.
They had a booth set up at the Mint. We talked to them. It's going to be in some future content that's coming out about what they're talking about. That's going to be a product that brings more people into collecting the same size cards that we're used to, but not what's on them. It's going to be different than what anybody has seen. So it's going to be different plays, but just know that the hobby's going to move through some stuff. But there'll be some things that will be long lasting. When we talk about vintage, that stuff is long lasting. Mickey Mantle is not picking up a bat. Willie Mays is not running bases, but they're still collectible because of how legendary they are.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. Yeah, I agree. Rookie card finder, Marvel is staying. Is just to what extent, and what cards will be the cards that are kind of leading the market from a collectability standpoint. George D. Loves seeing Marvel cards around like of the 90s. They have a cool look to them.
Yep. The PMG medals, everything from back then. I just think of 90s basketball, most of it, which I didn't know. So when I went to Atlanta, the Culture Collision trade show, that's where I was kind of open to how big Marvel is. I had met someone also that would be great on here, Spidey Jew 09.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah. Sin City was talking about Spidey, and I think he was supposed to go to the Mint. I can't wait to talk to Spidey.
Oh my God. So he has the one of one from 2017, the gold Spider-Man. And the way that like there's just so many things in that night that he was explaining to me. There's so many things in the way that like I think from like basketball collecting, there's so many of the same sets that just bleed into Marvel. And if you could get the basketball collector to look at Marvel and go, holy crap, this PMG I've been collecting all these years, that's in Marvel too. I love Marvel too. Let me go spend money on that. So he educated me on it. I didn't learn everything, but there's a lot in that space that I personally believe the PMGs are probably not at the top, but they've seen a nice increase. But the other ones is what people should start looking into now.
So Sam Rothstein comes with GOATs have to be transformational players. I agree with this. People who change the way the game is played, usually 1 to 2 per decade in the NBA. Sam speaking nothing but facts.
Curry, before nobody shot. Well, I won't say nobody shot threes, but now it's normal if you take 15 threes a game.
Yeah.
Before it was like, oh, you're taking more than 5 threes a game. Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah, there were years where Jordan, Bird, Curry has more threes than Jordan, Bird, and Magic Johnson put together. More threes made.
That
wasn't a shot. It wasn't really a shot that teams depended on. So yeah, so it has changed. Wilt changed the game. Jordan changed the game. There's just certain people that you can name that as soon as their name comes up, you know who you're talking about. So
do you think Giannis can change the game?
Yeah, I think he can. He just has to put more work in. He has more basketball to play. Giannis really won a championship kind of early in his career development, let me say, and how he developed as a big man. It was early. What will he do going forward? He had shown himself that he's working on his game. When he came out in the preseason following the championship and was shooting threes and 18-foot, 15-foot jumpers, he's working on his game. So if he continues to do that and he's dominating in the paint like he's been and he's durable like he has been, he shoots pretty decently from the free throw line. Shoots better than LeBron.
He was 15 for 15 in the game 6, which is insane.
52 points. I mean, he was dominating, and we can see today that there's a lack of a big man in the NBA. So if Giannis can keep doing what he's doing, we talk about top. I have a top 25, top 30 NBA list all time, and we talk about that sometimes on here. And I think Giannis, Kevin Durant. I already have Steph at number 9. These are going to be players that are jumping into the top 10, top 7 in the NBA all time. And they're going to be pushing some other players out. Like Larry Bird, to me, was top 10 up until about a year, two years ago. Then I feel like Steph Curry was the player that knocked him out of the top 10. And there will be other players that will come along that will challenge some legendary players that we know as far as their position in the all-time list standing. But I think Giannis is one of them that if he can keep doing what he's doing and at the level that he's playing at, it's going to be lights out for him. Yeah. George G, GOAT term tossed around nowadays. Yes. 1 to 2 per decade in every sport. Yes, George. Totally agree. Kawhi could be the closest thing to LeBron if he can win a ring in LA. Rookie card finder. I hate to think that Kawhi may have already seen his best years in the NBA.
Sadly, I agree, but I mean, is he going to come back this year? Is he supposed to come back for the playoffs?
Oh no, oh sir.
I think he's an overall amazing player. He plays really good defense. He could shoot. He could score. It's just he doesn't have that like dog. He doesn't have that like lead a team kind of thing. And yes, he's won championships, but I don't think long term we're gonna remember Kawhi in the way that like I could tell my kids like I saw LeBron take over games and tell his teammate, you do that, you do that, you do that. I don't see Kawhi being the leader of a squad and telling everybody you should do that, you should do this. So
No, I don't see
I
him
don't
doing
see
that.
him.
I think that's because of his personality.
Yeah.
Now, do you think he led Toronto when they won?
If he didn't go there, they wouldn't have won that championship. But
Right.
he's
Oh, I
like,
think he's a quiet, silent leader. I think he's a person
by
that leads
example.
by example.
Yes.
There you go. And we didn't even, we didn't try to do that. Leads by example, because I played with some people who they want to rah-rah. They weren't going to be talking a lot, but they want to lead by example what you saw them do on the court or the field or anything like that. I think that's what Kawhi is. So, but he's also going to be quiet at times doing that whole leading of the team. And he probably has to have certain players on the team that can respect that kind of leadership to really be successful.
Yeah. I just don't know if that will play well, because I don't think Paul George is the two that you need to get to a championship. He needs something. Like, they just had everything go right that year in the year Toronto won. If I may be mistaken, was LeBron in with the Lakers already?
I don't think it was with the Lakers yet. I could be wrong.
I could be I could be wrong, but everything went right that year. I remember Kawhi hit that one corner shot to end the
over
game
Ben
against
Simmons and Embiid. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of stuff went right that year. That was the year KD got hurt. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, I think that is.
So, I mean, a lot of things went in their favor that year, but I just don't see him winning another championship if he doesn't have a better number two next to him.
Yeah. Sam, we're going to have you here, man. Most definitely.
Yes.
Most definitely. I'm excited about that.
100%.
Yes. Joyce G. Sam's an island boy.
Sure.
OG Scar Scammer. Yo, just tapping in from the drive home. Farming, blessings, blessings, blessings. Glad to have you here. Sam says 100% agree, Nick. Ja scares me with how much he plays above the rim. Yeah. So this is what I want. This is the point I want to make on that. Things in sports look good, right? If we're watching the game, we see a running back come through the hole and just put his head down and bang through the hole. Looks good, right? That running back probably just cut time off his career by doing that. Ja jumping all the time and just taking alley-oops and just coming with it. It looks good. You're like, man, look at that, right? It hits TNT. It hits Sports Center. That's great. I don't know what that's at for Ja long term in his career.
Yep.
And when we collect now, or we're buying something, we're thinking about long. We're thinking about a point in time. Let me say.
Yeah, agree.
So Will says Ja has to cool it, or he just won't stay healthy. Young LeBron played like a tank. Dude was a freak of nature. So LeBron just got hurt, huh?
Yeah.
I want everybody to know. I didn't even know about this, right? We were traveling for the Mint and getting back and everything. And my mom tells me today, LeBron got hurt.
But, okay, does it really matter, though?
It does.
It doesn't. This year for the Lakers is over already.
This could be a situation. Maybe LeBron's hurt. I didn't see the play, right? Or it could just be a situation where he wants to shut down for the year.
And I would not blame him.
No, he's tired. He's put himself in a position. Was he 1,500 points behind Kareem?
Yeah.
He's
very close.
Yeah, he's very close for next year. I mean, get some rest. Watch the NCAA tournament. Probably at home coaching his son. Both sons, because his youngest son looks pretty good.
Bryce is now dunking too now.
Well, just his physical form, how he moves, his length looks like in 5 years, you don't know if he really wants to play basketball.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't. But if he really wants to play basketball, he looks more formidable than his brother Bronny.
Yeah.
Just from a physical perspective. I called years ago that LaMelo Ball was going to be the best ball brother.
He always looked like, yeah.
Yeah, he just has that physical look, especially when he got that growth spurt, because at one point he was very small, but he just looks like that. So Bryce would probably be.
And watching your brothers go through the NBA, you get to learn everything that they messed up on too. So he learned from all that as well.
Sam says, I think the best case for Ja is a Westbrook-like career. which is great. Worst case is Derrick Rose, also great, but it's sad because of what it could have been. True. How much opportunity is left on the table? We got Rookie Car Finder. Wow, he does not remind me of D Rose. He does remind me. Yeah, now that you say, yeah, he does.
Sad as it sounds, like they both have the trajectory where it's like if you don't get hurt and you're on the same trajectory your whole career, it looks like you could have one of the best careers of all time. But they both play like a wrecking ball, like just going straight to the net, and they're not very heavy. So
true.
Ugh.
Sam says Prime D Rose is incredible. Not sure if we'll see anything like that again. I don't think so. I was so excited for him because he's from Chicago, went to high school in Chicago, was playing for the Bulls. I wanted the best for him. Still want the best for him.
Yep.
Ricardo, what are your thoughts on investing in Tatum? I have a Tatum card. I think Tatum's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a good career.
They are the 1 seed now, surprisingly.
Right.
I did not know
Boston
that.
is the 1 seed. I think Tatum, I feel like Boston can't win until they either get rid of Tatum or get rid of Brown. They got to split that duo up, and then you get some other players in the mix with whoever's remaining.
Yeah. I thought last year their biggest problem was, I think in the East you need to have a big man because you're going against Joel Embiid and Giannis. So my biggest suggestion for them would try to get a big 5 that could defend one of those two, because last year Tice wasn't it, and I don't know who they're rolling with this year, but if you can't defend one of those big number 5s, then you're not going to get past them.
What's the guy's name? He's really like a power forward. He has very long arms. The third,
Robert Williams,
right?
Williams. Yeah.
Yep.
So
we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's interesting they're the 1 seed. But how much of that has to do with Kyrie just now playing home games?
Yeah, now he's back. That's another thing we'll see. Are they still an 8 seed?
I think so.
Okay. That'll change.
But Jay Lee says Messi is into play. Got to look at market caps, and Messi is no brainer to me. Yeah, Messi is
he's a
I
go.
don't think that's not even. I don't see anyone debating that. Like it's a great player.
Messi, Ronaldo, both GOATs.
Yeah,
you won't do bad on them long term.
No, you won't. Black Ash, catch them. Do y'all collect anything outside of sports cars? I get into, like I said, Marvel stuff sometimes when it comes to movie posters, comic books. I first started as a kid with stamps and coins, but that was a long time ago. That's what kind of got my mind ready for. What about you, Nick? Anything outside of sports?
I have really just stick to cards the last year. I used to collect. Well, I used to collect like sealed video games, and God, looking back at it now, some of those are going for crazy money. I wish I had no joke, like a pile like this, 10 Modern Warfare 2, which is like one of the biggest Call of Duty releases of all time. I saw like graded copies now go for over $1,500 a piece. So wish I would have held on to those at $60 each.
Yeah, that would have been nice, man.
Yeah. But not really much.
Also, everyone out there should know, and I think everybody does, that every collector has a story of opportunity cost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something that came through and maybe went out, or you never purchased, but you thought about it. So that's just part of it. I like to, I talked to because I'm Carlos a couple of weeks ago, about I like to look forward. He said the same thing. I like to really look forward on what are my strategies going forward, and not thinking so much about what could have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That just helps me, and it's positive for my whole overall being to be like that.
Yeah.
Christopher King, German Shepherds also got to work them. Yep, I grew up with German Shepherds. I had German. My father loved German Shepherds, so I had German Shepherds most of my life. But you got to work them. They need that energy out.
I have a German Shepherd / lab right now, and yes, they do need a lot of work.
A lot. Sam, I think the best thing to do is learn what is happening from Marvel and apply it to other markets. The same thing that happened to F1 is happening in the UFC.
You got to realize the flavor of the month right now is probably not the flavor of the month next month. So when something's at an all-time high, usually I would suggest that it's probably not going to stay at or keep going higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
So I usually look for things with lower entry points if that's the market's a little lower. But yeah, looking for new things that are up and coming is always good, but try not to buy at the tippy top.
True. So Jeff makes a good point here. Golden's company was Scoreboard. And I remember Scoreboard had those little squares that told you if something was real or not. I think I picked up some Muhammad Ali gloves from Scoreboard and some other stuff back in the day when I was young. So younger. Yeah, I remember that. Sam Rothstein, what's up, bro? Love the card show vlogs.
Everybody showing Sam love.
Sam, give you a shout out, brother. Give you a shout out. Sam says he appreciates that. Then we got James, Aloha FT, and StaknSell. Question. I just got a card back from Sports Marketing USA with a COA sticker on the back. This is my first send-in auto, and I'm wondering, what are my grading options with a COA?
So what is it? Is it it's a card?
Yeah, you got a card with a sticker on the back. So what I'm familiar with is that you can still have that card graded with the sticker on the back.
Okay.
I've seen you can have it authenticated. I've seen that's just a second level of authentication. So when I used to really be into autographs, which I kind of still am, you may get an autographed helmet by Jerry Rice. I have 2 or 3 authentication stickers on it on the back. And I don't think it's any different when it comes to a card that you send in that you got a sticker on. And that sticker does not devalue the value of the card. Someone is probably looking for that. And they like to see it in a PSA slab, a Beckett slab, a SGC slab, also with that sticker on. It just gives them more free of mind that this is real.
Yeah. I mean, you could go to the bigger shows and PSA or Beckett are usually at them. You could get a card slabbed right there and they'll mark it as authentic or give you a little sticker. But yeah, if you're just keeping it for you personally, I don't know if you're trying to sell it in the future. I personally wouldn't get it authenticated again because prices are just too expensive right now.
Yeah. Yep. Unless that's a card that you think is really worthwhile, is going to help out long term or something, or whatever duration of time you're holding on to it. But I agree with Nick. I probably would do that. That sticker can last you.
Yeah.
What about if Kawhi get Dame to pair along with him? Do you think they would win together? And yes, Paul George might have to go. I think a winning team would need more than Kawhi and Dame.
I agree.
I think they're both good complementary players.
Yeah. I just don't see I'm not saying Kawhi is old now, but I don't see him being prime Kawhi anymore. And I don't see Dame is still a great player, but I don't see prime Dame. So I think it could work, but also you got to think of all the other teams they're competing with in the West and what you would have to give up to get a Damian Lillard. So you'd probably have to give up a Paul George plus more. So you got to think of all the other pieces that would come off the roster, and they'd have to build that back up too.
True. Now Kawhi, I just looked him up. He's 30 years old.
Okay.
He still has some time.
Yeah, he does have some time. I thought he was a little older than that.
So did I. I thought he was like 33 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I did think that. So Flores says Robert Williams III is injured now. Really? Interesting. So it's going to be interesting for Boston. It's probably a team that has the number 1 seed going to the playoffs, or number 2, and then may not be around for long. But I still think Tatum is going to be someone.
Long term, I agree with that.
Brendan, do you find market cap analysis derived from correct data valid?
I don't.
With that, Nick?
What do you use market cap analysis at all?
I don't.
No, I don't. I use these, my 2 eyes.
Yeah,
I could tell if a guy's going to be. Am I perfect at predicting? No, but I think looking at a player is better than looking at, oh, this is how many cards he's had and this is how many sales he's had in the last 90 days. I think just looking at the players and looking at sales data is nice, but I don't look at market cap personally.
I agree with that. To me, the eye test, and I think that's an art that is lost in the hobby, is the eye test. When you look at a player, what are you seeing? I talk about this sometimes. I think we need more of that because some of this stuff, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. There are some players I look at ESPN and they're talking about. I'm like, yeah, that guy's cool, but he's not changing the game.
Yeah. It's you gotta have the eye test and the personality, and usually like a lot of these guys that people are predicting will be these all-time greats have one but not both.
That's right.
They either have the personality or they're really good, but they're usually not both.
Who y'all got winning the NBA championship this year? I'm not going to change my pick. I was still going with Golden State. I know they're going through a lot. I know Steph Curry's been out hurt, twisted ankle. I'm still going to stay with Golden State.
My pick at the beginning of the year was Brooklyn, and I'm still going to stick with Brooklyn. But I think they will win the chip without Ben Simmons this year. Me personally, I don't think Ben Simmons is playing this year.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think he's not playing yet?
I think this whole time, me personally, this may be completely wrong. I don't think the mental health thing, maybe it was true, maybe it was not. I really think he's had a herniated disc the whole time, but he hasn't told anyone. And that just came out a couple weeks ago with the herniated disc, and I don't think he's going to play the rest of the year now because of it.
That's great insight, Nick.
So it may just be a wild guess, but I think KD and Kyrie could handle it. I think they got good enough pieces. They got Patty Mills, Griffin, Claxton. They've got now Seth Curry. Like, I could not believe they gave up Seth and Andre Drummond in that deal. And I don't love James Harden. He's a great player, but he does not win in the playoffs. He is not a playoff player. He is a regular season player that puts up points, but he does not win playoff games.
True.
There's a big difference between the two.
True.
So
totally agree with what you're saying. Rookie card finder, Brooklyn Nets champs. There you go.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
Flores says the Bucks. We'll see.
Also,
they're a formidable team.
Yeah, can't count out Giannis. He's a generational talent, so he could take over a game whenever he wants. But same with KD, he could take over a game whenever he wants too.
It's interesting. So is there anything that you would tell someone who came into the hobby in 2020 during the boom and they're still in the hobby today?
Ooh. I would tell them that if you don't get smarter, then you're not going to last, because every single day there's people that are smarter than me, bigger than me.
Yep.
There's people that are learning and learning and learning. And if you're not learning, like if you're not going along and learning as well, then you're going to get left behind. If you took someone from 2020 and placed them into today, they'd probably be buying 2020 Prism base. Like, that was a big thing at the time.
Huge.
It was. I remember buying RJ Barrett Prism rookies like right when the pandemic started at $5-10, and then selling them during the pandemic for $25-30 once people started hopping in the hobby. So if you're still in that, I'm gonna play Prism base or I'm gonna play select base, like, that does not work in this anymore. Mm-hmm. So learn what's working now, adapt, evolve. If that's learning a different sport or learning a different side of the hobby, that may be what you have to do, but don't just stay stagnant. You got to get better every day.
And this is why it's good to have conversations with people, to me. If you all out there are watching and you kind of want some cliff notes to how do I get better, there are many things you can do, but talk to people, right? Just talking to Nick today, I've learned some things about a different demographic than when I came through the hobby and what I kind of learned. And I plan to do more of that. Like when I talk to Sam and Nick comes back on again in the future and we're talking about something, It's about what we have seen. Like, there are different markets out here. The LA market is not the only market in America.
Yep.
Chicago market is not the only one. Nick is challenging himself to get around the country to understand what's happening in different markets. I'm working on challenging myself as well to do the same thing. Even in your region, there are differences. I'm pretty sure when Nick gets to Indianapolis, he's not going to see Chicago.
No.
And when
Like
I go to San Fran, I'm here, or I go to San Diego, I'm gonna see differences.
yeah. Mojo Autographs, bigger on YouTube. I saw him at the Chicago show last week, and I asked him, "What are you picking up?" Kobe. And I'm like, "Why are you picking up Kobe?" He's like, "Because it sells well there. It doesn't sell as well here. Yes, Kobe's popular wherever you go, but you could pick a Kobe auto up here,
Oh, it's
pick it
different.
up for 800, sell it for 1,000 at home because that's what's in demand."
Yep.
Like, wow. Like it's
Yeah,
just
those are
a
plays.
yeah. So
Yep.
picking up taking something. If I buy something in Indiana and it's a Bulls guy, the guy may not value him as much in Indiana than a collector does here in Chicago.
Yep.
So
And Mojo's cool, right? He had a real conversation with you.
yeah,
Now you can bump into somebody that wouldn't even say what he said.
yep. That's what you see. Like that's one thing that I've really tried to implement in everything I do is just giving everybody at least the time of day because
Yeah.
there's some guys that you'll bump into them at a show and you're like, dude, what are you do? Like, why are you portraying yourself on the internet as being all this, but you're nowhere near that in person?
Nowhere
Like,
near.
you won't even have
Yeah.
a conversation with me, or I'll ask you a simple question and you'll just move on. Like, at least give your supporters and the people that support and watch your content the time of day.
Yeah. And this is why I don't care where I'm at and what I'm doing at a show. If I'm even in the middle of a deal, I would like to have a conversation with someone. You just tap me on the shoulder. There was some people at the Mint that I'm walking by, just tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, what's up?" And I've talked about that many times, and I was so happy. I had great conversations with people who just said something. I may have been thinking about going over here to look at this table that I just saw 30 minutes ago. Let me go back to it. But if you're talking, and I learned something from each one of these people, and some of these people now are coming to the Delmar show. And I can't wait to have an environment there where maybe I get a chance to spend a little bit more time with them. And to me, that's what the community is all about. Like we all have different personalities, Nick. We talked about some athletes and things like that may have different personalities. We all do. I respect that. But if a child that's collecting comes up to me, if there's an older person who's seen me who comes up to me, or if anybody stops me, I just got raised like that, man. I don't have to, I don't do anything else. You're not going to have me on here and I'm talking a certain way, and then you see me and I'm like, I'm not. I got cards to get. I don't know.
I personally, when I go to a show, I will say, like when I go to the bigger shows, I will say, okay, you could put whatever percentage you want, but I'll put 70% into buying sales wise, and then I'll say 30% of my show is just marketing and just walking around and,
There you
and
go.
introducing myself to different people.
That's what I do.
Because I've seen personally, you may disagree with this, but the relationships you make at shows lead to so much more in life than just shaking a hand could lead to so much more. You never know what your one conversation is going to do, leading to other people. Oh, I had a conversation with FD. He was a grade A, amazing person. Someone says that in front of Ken Golden, and Ken Golden goes, "Oh, let's have FD out to Golden next week." You never know who the conversation is going to get to, but you always got to be genuine and nice to people. Me personally, that's how I was raised too.
I agree. I agree with that totally, man. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I agree. I talk about this all the time. And G is my son. He does editing, right? G is 17 years old. When we started, he was 16, and he was at the Mint. He's talking to people, shaking hands, and meeting different people. I will want someone to treat him with respect. I talk to Greg all the time about when he goes to a show, treating people with respect. The way he's wired, he's going to do that. That's why he's wired. But I always talk about these small things that add up to big things, like what you just talked about. There are small things that add up to big things. Everybody, man. If you see somebody sweeping the floor at a show, talk to them.
Yeah.
Say what's up to them.
Yeah.
They're doing their job. They're at their job, but that person may be walked by for hours and no one will engage them. Be that person that does engage them.
I mean, you never know. Like, I want to say 3 weeks ago, I was at a show and I was just walking out, and there was a guy who was just washing windows, and I don't know, no one was really saying anything to him, and I'm like, these look really clear. I think you're doing your job correctly. And he's like, you're the first person all day that's acknowledged me. I really appreciate that. And he's like, my mom just died 3 weeks ago, and I haven't talked to anybody in weeks. And we just had a simple conversation. And he's like, you made my literal day by just saying that I was doing my job correct. So man, you never know, but with just one comment, it could make someone's day.
The power of words, man. You don't know where a person is, what's happening with them. He shared some stuff, but he could have not shared anything. But the seed that you planted by talking to him, you don't know where that's going to go.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing that, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, I try to at least just be kind. That's how I was raised. Treat everybody how you want to be treated. Because if I'm treating one person one certain way and treating another person another way, I mean, I just don't like that, honestly.
Very true. Sam says, don't sleep on Miami when we start talking about the championship. Nathan says, you need defense to win in the playoffs for sure. Flores says, give me the Bucks. Let's see. Flores says, again, getting smarter every day, investing smartly and everything except Pokemon. I said it before the ball dropped on January 1st that I'm going to be very focused on what I'm investing in 2022. Extremely focused. And I was focused before, but very focused on what I'm doing and what I'm walking and what I'm talking about and what cards do I see. But I'm going to share in videos what I'm thinking when I'm at the show. So, Dexfo, FD, another triple-double win for Jokic. He's MVP. I think he's MVP this year. Earlier, I thought Embiid was going to win, but I think he's back-to-back.
The way Embiid could pass the ball is just like, he looks like a point guard that plays center. He does 7 feet tall. It's just amazing to me. Yeah, I would not be surprised if he went back to back. At the All-Star break, I said Embiid will win, but he needs to stay healthy, and I think he's pretty much stayed healthy the whole year. But that's been his problem over his whole career. He just never can stay healthy all year.
Yep. Flores asks for StaknSell. What is your buying process when buying at shows? Provide an example, please, if you are paying for a car with cash.
So, my ideal situation when I'm going to a show is I will walk up to someone's table. Let's say I've got $1,000 in my pocket, and I see they've got 5 or 6 cards that are about $200 to $300 in value, and they've got them all stickered. So I pick them out and I ask them, hey, you've got these 5 cards here. You've got them stickered at $1,300. Try to work down a price where you could get down in percentage where it works for you, but also the seller is winning because then they're getting rid of a lot of product and they're making more money. So I try to buy in lots when I'm going to shows because I've seen the most success. It gets me better deals because dealers are willing to negotiate a little bit more on that.
Okay. That's good.
So I would suggest lotting cards up if possible.
Brendan said, never appeal to a card collector's good nature. He may not have one. Instead, invoke his self-interest. True. But when you're at a show, and if you visit that show often, or you're in an area where you see vendors, you kind of start understanding who you're negotiating with or who you're buying from. And I have found myself visiting tables of vendors who we have had good conversations before. Their comps are where they kind of should be, or they're willing to have a conversation and negotiate something.
Yeah. The relationships at shows are even more important, I feel like sometimes. Like I have dealers that like my consistent shows I will go to right when I get to the show because
I do that same
it's
thing.
not even like a handshake agreement, but we know like, hey, I'm gonna come to your table and I may spend $500-$600, but we're gonna come to an agreement on price. I may not like the sticker price that's on there, but we both have an agreement. We're going to get this deal done. And that's why relationships are so key when you go to a show.
Very, very true. I do the same thing. Rookie card finder. Miami going to draft a QB number 2. I just want to know, is Miami as a franchise ever going to do anything?
I mean, they got Tyreek Hill.
Well, they got Tyreek Hill, and then they have Waddle on the other side. Both of them are probably the 2 fastest receivers, probably all time in the NFL. As far as on the same team. But Tua is of question, and whoever they bring in is probably going to be of question.
He's accurate.
We'll see.
That's about it.
Joshua, favorite walk to sell bulk? Favorite
bulk
way
raw.
to sell bulk raw?
What would you do? You have any suggestions on selling bulk raw?
I haven't really sold bulk raw.
Okay. I mean, my suggestion would be going to a show, knowing kind of what you have, but you got to leave a dealer with room. No one's going to take something if you're selling them $2 to $5 cards at 100% comps. So just try to figure out, okay, if I do want to do this, how much work is it going to take me? And then think about that from the person that you're selling it to perspective. If you're selling it to a hobby shop, that's a different story. They could sell that inventory 7 days a week. But if you're selling to someone like me at a show, I've only got 2 days out of two days that are weekends that I could sell those cards. So it may not be the best idea for me to buy something even at 60 to 70% comps.
So let me ask, these are 2 questions that I've had. If you're selling bulk raw, are you highlighting some high value cards that are in that lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Because okay, so if I'm selling you raw, and let's say that I estimate the value of like a 2-row box like this. Let's say I estimate the value.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Estimate the value at, let's say, $1,000. I try to at least pitch to the dealer, okay, there's these 6 cards that you could make $500 back on.
Okay.
So you're trying to point out to them, okay, these are those certain cards that you could at least make some of the money back and then make the rest of the money on the rest of the bulk stuff.
Understood.
Yeah.
And also, if you're buying a lot of bulk raw, like a lot, how you travel with that?
That's something why I'm trying to get out of the bulk raw game.
Do you ship stuff?
So when you go to, I don't do a lot of like bulk raw on the road kind of thing. I mainly do it at like these local shows here. Okay. So I know a lot of guys who, like, I know a guy here locally who crushes, surprisingly, quarter to dime boxes. So yes, I don't know. But
I believe
he went down to the Houston TriStar, did 15,000 in sales on quarter and dime cards. So
I heard from some people the Houston market, that is big. Like you got people really going through those boxes.
Yeah. So he packed his whole entire truckload. I know people that go to the National that will get a pallet moved from one side of the country to the other side. I know Burbank I think he said a couple years ago they bought a collection at the National and they had to pallet it home. So some guys will send pallets, some guys will drive their cars. Yeah. Right. So not what I'm trying to get into though. I don't like the bulk game, honestly.
I understand. Dexo, StaknSell, thoughts on wrestling. I'm very bullish on it right now. What's the feeling at the car shows you've been to?
There is a bigger investor that is coming into the hobby right now who has a lot of money that he has been spending on different things. Met him at a show a couple weeks ago, and he said that this year's wrestling product is going to be prime because apparently there's The Rock auto in this year's WWE. They're bringing some other nostalgic autos back. I'm not very versed in the WWE sense, but from the people that I've talked to at shows, people are very excited for. I want to say it's Prism that's coming out this year.
I almost had the same answer. Like, I don't do a lot with wrestling cards. I know The Rock is a play. There's some Hulk Hogan stuff that is a play. I think wrestling cards will stand the test of time and be a viable market for people who are investing in wrestling cards. I think that's how I think about that. Because Merle World Cards that's here in LA. I talk to him a lot, and I know the great creator Dan sells some stuff. I talk to both of them, and I think there's something there. Would I invest in something? I think so, at some point here. So
yeah,
we got a few more questions here. Brendan, that philosophy sells cars, which you were just talking about. Joshua, wrestling. Joshua's not a fan of wrestling.
hey, you don't. I mean,
you have to be a fan of everything.
You could have asked me 6 months ago, and I would have thought F1 was the same thing as NASCAR, and now I'm probably one of the biggest
I had
the
a
biggest
conversation with
F1
someone
fans.
a few months ago. Well, I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
and they let me know what is F1, what is NASCAR.
Yes, and F1, something that I stumbled across going through Netflix probably like 5 months ago, and now it's a huge market that I've been selling a lot of at shows, because what I've seen, at least around here, when I will put an F1 card in my case, I'm usually one of the only people at a show that has it.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it may be a little different out there, just not as big here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have something that, even if that's Marvel cards or whatever your little niche is, that could sell because you're the only one in the show that has that kind of product.
All right. Brendan says, "Tell me it's not Charlie Sheen." I don't know what that's in reference to.
I have no idea.
Chance, WWE Prism is dropping this month. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Joshua, I like UFC cards. Very popular. I've been talking to more collectors here about UFC. The biggest question I had up front is that, like boxing, you can follow a boxer for 15 years, 18 years, depending on when they started boxing and when they stopped boxing. I feel like a UFC's fighter's career was shorter, but if they'll go to the hobby, for them understanding, the cards still hold value.
I personally would tell anybody, just like building off of what you basically just said, the best fighter is not really the most remembered fighter. So me personally, I would rather go after a Conor McGregor, and we'll go back to the Instagram followers thing. He has 50 million Instagram followers. I'm not going to say nobody, but a lot of people don't even care how good of a fighter he is. He's just a really good entertainer, and we'll remember him forever because of how good of an entertainer he is.
And everything he does is entertaining. I saw some pictures the other day that he posted with him and his wife. And in those pictures, he's entertaining. The way he's standing, the way he does this thing is entertaining. So
yes,
I can definitely see that. Joshua says F1 is here to stay. Mervin Flores says, FT, do you have any plans on showcasing some of your more of your collection on Instagram? Yeah, May. Let me know what you're thinking about, Mervin. You talking about pictures of stuff? Yeah, I can definitely do that. I know I put out some content recently about like an autograph piece from the Lakers of Kareem. I can definitely showcase more pictures of that on Instagram. Tonight, after we get off here, I'll post a picture of that. And then the picture, I'm with Steve Gray from Beckett, that he authenticated the piece. But I'll post that. That's good feedback, Mervin. Right? It's good feedback. I sometimes I don't think of this stuff. I try to get better at that. But sometimes I think about it's in the episode, but then that's separate from social media.
Like this weekend, I had someone run into me at a show and was like, you should make a show, or you should make a video on how to package cards. And I'm like, I never even thought of that, because I ship like 40 cards per day. So it's just normal to me. But he's like, I don't even know how to do it, so I don't even sell cards. I'm like, well,
there you
thank
go.
God I have viewers, because they give me some of the best suggestions.
Yeah, they'll let you know some things that they want to see, but they want to see your spinning your perspective on it. Yes. And Mervin, I really appreciate this because it helps me. Rookie card finder, Jerry West autos are valued I think they're a value long term. Yeah, I think Jerry West was a great player. He's going to be involved in, like, right now, Winning Time is on HBO talking about the Lakers from back in the day. He's involved in that, and that's going to be more that I think we learn about Jerry West. So yeah,
And I mean, he's the NBA logo. So
he is. He's the logo. Dexo says, great point. Pujols way better than Jeter. Yeah, Jeter's in God mode, son, because he played for the Yankees and has 5 titles. I think it's that has something to do with it too, but I think it's about personality, right? Pujols at one point really never did an interview, never really talked to people too much
Yes.
about anything. At one point, he refused to sign autographs. Like, you would never see him at an autograph signing or anything like that. So, and now he just signed a 1-year deal going back to the Cardinals, which I think is probably his retirement year, and trying to stretch out some of those home runs on that list. So, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with it. Yeah, playing for the Yankees. Pujols won titles too. He didn't win 5, but he was at the Cardinals had some great teams when he was there. But it's just about how do you relate to people and what are you talking about? And Jeter is very polished on how he presents himself.
Yeah.
Pete says, Chicago Jordan fans, do either of you have a Jordan baseball card you love? Yeah, I purchased a 1992 Topps Archive Michael Jordan card, gold. It has a little gold seal in the corner, and a BGS 10 that I put in the episode a few episodes ago. That's probably my best Jordan card. At some point, I would like to get more Jordan cards. What about you, Nick?
I think I picked up one like PSA 8 of whatever his first. I have it in my PC. Whatever his first card is with him in a White Sox uniform. But it was just cool. I picked it up for my PC.
Is that the upper deck card where he's swinging?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool card, man.
Yes.
Cool card. Colorado will be interesting to see how crazy Ohtani market gets if he does the same thing this year. And who knows where MLB cards are when Tatis is back in Acuna. The thing about Ohtani, let's say he gets hurt.
Yep.
What do his cards go to?
I personally, I think there's a couple things holding back Ohtani right now. He's got to get injured at some point. There's no possible way that this guy can run out every single day and either pitch, hit, or play the field. Like, your body just will break down. Another thing that I feel like is holding him back. He doesn't have to ever, but I think like marketability for the league, if they could teach him how to learn English, that would be so huge for the league. Because all in America, we've never heard this guy's voice before. We don't know. We don't know his personality.
The most I heard of Ohtani was that he did a 60-minute interview before he came over to the States. And that's the most I heard him talk. It was in his language, but it was the most I ever heard him actually speak and try to get a sense of his demeanor. You don't see too much with him.
No. And like we said before, like, personality is just huge for collectors and huge for long term. Like, yes, I understand, like, Ohtani's going to be remembered for a very long time in the way that he hits and that he could pitch. But we also need that personality. And what happens if he just gets hurt the next couple of years there's people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these Ohtanis now. What happens then?
True. I know I just walked the show where I saw some huge Ohtani.
Oh, yes. And another good thing about him is he doesn't really have many rookie cards because kind of like a Juan Soto, he got his Bowman and he went straight to the league. Like, Juan Soto has, I think he's got one Bowman first auto and nothing else first wise after that.
That's right. So, and those cards are well sought after.
Oh, yes. And if there's one guy in the MLB, he's the one guy that I could almost guarantee he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, has one of the best eyes, hits probably the best in average, and is unfazed by everything. So
Dexo says, Pujols already says his last ride. It has to be. If you see Pujols take a walk, it's a chore to get to first base. Right? If he hits a home run, you can kick back, man. It's going to take him a while to get around those bases and get to the other side. and he looks like is uncomfortable for him. That's the thing, right? Lower extremities. You're a power hitter. The torque. You can look at Tiger Woods, so even as a golfer, the torque of turning your body and where does all that energy go to the bat and to your feet. You know, that's just how sports work. So yeah, it's going to take a toll on your body. Mervin, it's nice to see what other collectors have in their collection. Yes, it is, and what stories behind each of the cards. I don't have too much left because I consolidated like crazy. Mervin, I think I remember when you were talking about you were consolidating. Yeah, but that is actually true though. You know, the stories behind it, and but I will take that advice. I mean, that's good sound advice. I appreciate that. I really do. Dexfo, Stack, look into grading tickets. 3 tickets I bought 12 years ago, got PSA graded, paid $430, now climbs to over 8,000. The ticket market is booming, people.
Oh yes, it is. I don't know if you saw him this weekend. There's a guy that's based around here. He actually owns an autographed Kobe Bryant 82-point game ticket stub.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of that stuff, yeah, there's certain amount of supply, but it's almost priceless. Like
that was at the Mint, the eBay had a booth, and they had an 81 point game ticket signed by Kobe, authenticated by PSA. And that thing was under some lights. It looked amazing, man. It was like, I stood there for a minute and just looked at that. Like,
that's greatness right there.
Interesting. MLB cards are graded in all. Josh was a big baseball fan. I can see that. I respect it. I remember hearing comparisons of Pujols to Garrett. Brendan, I also remember that. Peaks, I think Ohtani has already done something we have never seen. It will remain historic. In some way, his price might be low, in my opinion. I just don't want him to be like Bo Jackson. I've said this over and over again. Or pick something that you do and do it well, and don't put yourself in the situation. I'm just selfish to the point where I want to see Ohtani for like years.
Yeah.
Not just like, do y'all remember when?
Okay, I'll spin this question on you. Which one would you rather see him do, hit or pitch?
Hit.
Me too.
Hit.
The way the ball just goes to
bat.
right field is just beautiful when it comes off his bat as a lefty.
Yep. Dexo says Ohtani is Yao Ming of baseball. He'll always do collectible for his unique talent and his race. But that's true. But Yao Ming cards are, I don't know if when I think of big men, I don't think of Yao Ming probably top 7 players. I'm not thinking about Yao Ming when that's just not. I would just like to see Ohtani for a long time.
Yes.
A flagship, that is, talking about Peeps. Yes, as far as Ohtani. Junkyard Gold Hunter, thank you for being here. I wish Aroldis Chapman could speak English. He literally pitched his way to freedom for him and his family. Yeah.
And let me clarify, like, there's no problem if you don't speak English.
Oh yeah,
I really
I didn't take it as that. I'm glad you're saying that. I didn't take it as that either.
Yeah, I was just saying marketability. If he speaks English, it would be a whole different ball game. Like, his popularity is huge already, but we don't even like it. We kind of know his personality, but we could get a way better sense of who he really is if we could hear him speak, actually.
So Peep says, hot take, Pujols finishes with more WAR than wins than Trout. I don't know the number. I don't know the numbers on that.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah.
So Pujols has a 99.4. Oh wait, yeah, 99.4 WAR. Wait. All time. 99.4, and Trout. $72.5. I could see Trout catching him at whatever 99.4. Trout had a down year last year, but he's a generational talent, guys.
Yeah,
like
so.
The way he runs, the way he throws, like everything he does is almost perfect. Like there's nothing that you could really pick out of his game and be like, he's got to get better at that. there's not many things that you could say about that. Pujols, he's a power hitter. He hit for average when he was younger, but he's not an overall, like, you could tell him, yeah, you got to get a little faster, Albert. Like, there's a couple things you could pick in his game.
Yep.
Trout, not really.
So Dexo asked a question that I asked, Mervin, what did you consolidate into? And some told me that it was the Jordan Field rookies. I know Kaboom. I know someone here in California that has been jumping into, I won't use the word jumping, who has been putting his investment into Jordan rookies and moving away from other stuff. And I even told him in person and on live. I understand why. And then Sin City and I were talking about that this weekend, like that philosophy. I think there are more people doing that. They're moving into that. It's not going to zero. It's not dropping off the face of the map. Loco, what's up, man? Loco car collector here. I think it was an 81-point game. Yeah, it was. It was 81. Dexo, nice. I'm thinking of consolidating into a PSA 9 Jordan. That's a nice card. Saw a few this weekend. That's a nice card. And has creeped up in value from the last national. A pretty good increase. Loco says, I went to the game where Bonds hit 756. I got to find the ticket stub. What's interesting is I went to the game where Bond hit 715. Interesting, Loco. I would rather see Ohtani hit. Yeah, I'd rather see him hit too, because something's going to happen. FD, are you going to Angels home opener? Showtime is pitching. Let me look into that, Loco. Excuse me, OG Car Scammer. Let me look into that. I might. It would be cool to be at a home opener. I've been at a home opener since 2012, I think, 2013. So it'd be cool. Loco, I saw Tony hit a homer off of glass now last year. I was behind the Angels dugout. It was phenomenal. Mervin said, you can do it, man. Rookie car finder, Chase Brady tickets this year, boys. You know, you're right about that. I was on, I always do a lot of different kind of searches. So I was on eBay the other day looking up some Brady tickets.
Yep. I've got a friend who he's a big Brady collector, but now he has gotten into the Brady Michigan tickets. And he think like they're still relatively cheap if you could find them ungraded. I mean, it's tough to, when they pop up, you kind of got to buy them right away. But you're also gambling with grading it and hoping that it grades at least. But yeah, tickets are definitely something that I'm looking into. It's just difficult trying to see if people like it autographed or if they like the unautographed stuff, if they care about the grade. It's all stuff that I'm still looking into right now.
Mervin makes a good point here. Tickets are intriguing, especially now that everything is going digital. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Chase Brady tickets. Yep. Dexlo. I'll move anything on my PC except the PSA 10 Bowman.
Probably a good idea. I don't know what's in your PC, but
yeah, that's a great strategy, right, brother? Can't go wrong there. Game tickets by Rookie Card Finder. Loco, any Tim Duncan conversation tonight? No, not talking. No, there has been no talk about. Hey, Nick, what do you think all time? Right? What do you think of Tim Duncan?
He's just a guy that great player, but we'll go back again. Just not really a personality. Not a guy who, like, if I remember, because me growing up, I got into basketball like 2007, 2008. So when I think of Tim Duncan, I think of that year that they won with Kawhi against the Heat. I didn't see like the beginning of Tim Duncan. And he was just a boring big man that he scored, he rebounded, he did all the dirty work, but he wasn't this huge figure that was putting himself out there saying anything close to edgy. He was just this quiet guy who did his thing, and I felt like just was really good and didn't really say anything about it.
Yeah. Oh, I always say with people sometimes, let's say you take Tim Duncan and you put Kevin Garnett's personality on him.
That's a really, really sellable player then.
Ooh.
Yes.
And that would just be, the hobby would love that. ESPN would love that. And let's say you took Kevin Garnett and had him leave Minnesota 5-6 years earlier.
Yeah,
Man,
it would have been.
it would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
So Dexpo, Stack, who was your motivation to get you into vlogging?
Ooh. So I started my channel in July this year, and it wasn't really even a vlogging kind of thing. I was just trying to give some tips on what I would suggest, and then the vlogging thing really came into. I was at the Wisconsin Dells card show, and he was still relatively small at the time. I want to say, I may be completely wrong on this, 3,000-4,000 subscribers, but I met Roth Cards there, and man, he's seen tremendous growth this year. But I saw what he was doing, and he's like, dude, you've got the personality to do it. You could talk to people, and I'm like, yeah,
you have good information.
yeah, I'm knowledgeable. At least I hope so sometimes.
Oh, you are.
But I was just like, you know what? I started going to shows, and I would just make little behind here. I would just make little videos on what I picked up, and then people were like, "Show you at the show," and I'm like, "Okay." So then one of my buddies just started coming to shows with me and recording what I was doing, and people started to like it. And I'm like, "All right, let's pump these out." And now I have to be at a show at least once per weekend, if not twice, because the people want the content. Like
They do.
People like I didn't know beforehand, but there's people overseas that don't have a card show every weekend.
That's right.
Or if they're in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, they don't have a card show. They want to live through the card show though. So providing them some sort of way that it's like you're not there, but you feel like you're there. That's what I'm trying to do for the viewer.
Absolutely, man. Edgar, Brady is the biggest chase unless he unretires again. Tom Brady, man. I mean, he is something special. Peeps, question for you both. Have we, the hobby, sort of forgotten about Mookie Betts? In some ways, yes. In some ways, we have. But just know that he won't be forgotten about for long.
No, he had a little bit of a down year last year. If I'm not forgotten, yeah.
And his cars are already undervalued before that.
Yes. Oh, yes, 100%. Like I'm not going to put him in that category, but he has the kind of talent to be up there with a Mike Trout type.
Yes,
like,
he does.
He's also.
I tell people all the time he is a Mike Trout kind of player. Will he be respected by that, like by sports people or people in the hobby? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he needs to just have another. They have an all-star roster this year. Jesus Christ! I mean, like their whole roster up to down. There's not a hole. So I don't see a reason why they shouldn't win a World Series this year. But
I think it all come down to pitching, probably. That's about it.
But I mean, they've got Walker Buehler, they've got Kershaw, they've got I don't even know where it goes after that. But I just see they have an all-star roster. If he can stay consistent and have a better year this year, bat over 290, hopefully over 300, hit a good amount of bombs. I think the only thing that people don't like about him is he doesn't hit as many home runs sometimes.
Oh, well.
I could get over that, honestly.
I can get over that.
Yeah.
Loco says, I was wondering if we can get a hard ticket for a game that originally had a digital ticket. I think every game has so many hard tickets and digital tickets, depending on how you purchase them. So I know some people who are just fans of the game who will take their digital ticket, print it out on high quality paper, and put it in a frame on the wall. It all depends on what you want to do with that ticket. If you're trying to get it graded or get it signed by a player, I see your point. But there are usually tickets that are available. Some are harder to find. Rookie card finder, Brady, last game ticket of 2022. I think it's going to be crazy, right?
Probably.
Until you pay a lot for it. And then he says, you know what? I'm going to come back next year. I don't want to walk the sand beaches of Costa Rica. I want to get back in the huddle.
You saw that guy that paid, what, $500,000 for his last ball?
Now that ball is probably worth $50,000.
Yeah. I would just wait until Brady actually, maybe a year after he retires, to invest in some of his last game use stuff.
Now, who still has something that's solid is he gave it back, but the ball that was the 600 touchdown ball, nobody's ever done that. So that stands the test of time.
Yeah.
Loco, I agree with that statement about Tim Duncan. Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't have the.
Hey, Loco, you know he's still the greatest power forward of all time, though. Still got an untouchable post game. I just love Tim Duncan. Mervin, I used to PC Kevin Garnett, another one who doesn't get too much hobby love. He does not. We're going to take a few more questions here because I could keep Nick on here all night. All night.
I'd love to stay, but I'm dog sitting, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's all good. Local card collector. I feel like there's a strong demand for content. It's one of the main reasons I started my channel. I started my channel to just tell my story and then to talk to other people around the country about the hobby and sports in general. I really just wanted to tell my story because I always felt like I collected, but I don't know if anybody ever, kid from the South Side of Chicago, what is he talking about? I want to tell it. Loco, I just bought a Mookie Betts first Bowman Chrome auto refractor BGS 9 today for $1,500. His price is soft and isn't that crazy, man?
That's just ridiculous. That only goes for that much.
Loco, can you do me a favor, please? Can you send me a picture of that thing on Instagram?
That is ridiculous to me. You probably can't. Okay, I may be wrong on this, but that is probably the price of a Bobby Witt Jr. Bowman Chrome first auto.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, that just it maddens me.
You did it on that one, man. That was the thing. Hey, Loco, people are trying to find you, man. Rookie card finder. Loco, you got a channel. Hit them up. Let them know.
Hit up Loco.
That's right. Edgar, Dodgers need to have a full 162 game season. Bulldoze through everyone all the way to the World Series. That's probably when the Dodgers fans were really confident that this thing is about to happen. Dexter, an amazing ticket to own is that 5-5 Michigan Finals ticket, but they won't do a group signing because Weber and Jalen Rose don't like each other. Well, if you know the backstory on why Weber and Jalen Rose don't like each other, then you kind of understand what's going on there. But maybe one day Weber will come around. It was interesting that when Michigan was in the tournament, Jalen Rose came one day, Weber came to the next game. So there's still something. There's still something going on there. Edgar, and even if they do that, the criticism will still be present in some weird way. Then we're down to 2 here. Local card collector. Someone just sold a Bobby Witt Jr. at the Vegas show for $22,000.
Not surprised.
The hobby's gonna go like this going forward, right?
Yeah, people like to prospect, man. Like people are. Jason Dominguez's 101 Superfractor sold for $486,000.
And how did he play last year?
I don't think he even hit that well. I think he batted like 250, 240.
Yeah, I think it was 256. It was his bad.
Yeah, he didn't even hit that well, and people will still throw hundreds of thousands of dollars into prospecting, hoping that a guy will be the next XYZ.
And I think people know that if it does pan out, then you're sending rocket ships to the moon, man. You know.
Yep.
Great chat. 3-hour mark. Yes. Well, we're almost done here. Nick has been this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Our last comment here about Local Card Collector. I do have a channel, Local Card Collector on YouTube. Check him out. Hit him up on Instagram as well. Everybody's going Loco. That's the motto I have for Loco. Right? Loco, you can take that one, man. Everybody's going Loco.
Going Locos for Card Collector.
Nick, I really appreciate you being here. You don't know how much. I would love to have you back in months in the future to talk about different things.
Definitely want to. Just let me know when I'm welcome down again.
It's been a special time. Anything you want to tell the people before you leave?
Just check us out on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all StaknSell, on eBay as well, StaknSell. Trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark.
Yeah, help Nick get to the 1,000 subscriber mark.
So help us get there. All my videos are just trying to help people get some sort of value out of them, and just educating people that are new in the hobby on anything that I'm learning, any mistakes that I make, because I think any of the mistakes that I make, I'd like to tell you guys so you don't make the same one. So
We got
Appreciate you having me on, FD. I really, really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Anytime, man. Anytime I watch your stuff. I try to bring. I want to showcase people, and I want to let you know that I appreciate what you do and how you go out and your knowledge level. And that's why I want to have you on here. You put in the work, man.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you do your thing. So there's a few more. We got Chance, awesome show, guys. Loco, thanks, guys. Edgar says, solid live stream. Loco say I will be a new subscriber. Yeah, hit up Nick. Let's get Dick to 1,000.
Yes,
That's what it's all
sir.
about. I can't wait one day to hit a show with you, man.
Yes, it'll be amazing. Are you going to the National this year?
I'm not going to the National this year. I will be at the Burbank show here in California.
Okay. I'm going to try to get to California soon because I need to learn that community because that's what we're trying to build here too.
That's right, bro. So whenever you do come out, you let me know. We'll spend some quality time together.
Awesome.
John, I took your feedback. John, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Avid, Patrick Mahomes, 1-on-1, RPA, probably 20,000 value. How does Domingo sell for 460K? That's how things go, man. That's the hype factor. We'll talk more about that. It's about hype. I'll be subscribing for sure. Jeff is hitting you up. OG Car Scammer, made it home safe and sound. Aloha. I'm already subbed. Dexo is hitting you up. Awesome, and take care, y'all. Definitely a new subscriber here as well. So many great people. Nick, you have a good night, sir. I really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it, FD. You have a good one.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.